Now, like I said, I'm reading this book, White Malice, right, by Susan Williams, and I showed it to you last session. And that's not Martin Luther King shaking hands with J.F. Kennedy. I got that wrong. That's Kwame Nkrumah shaking hands with J.F. Kennedy on the front of White Malice. You understand how the CIA, was put upon the different representatives of so-called African nations, so-called Africa. It was really E, right? But and how the CIA funded many of these African groups, okay? And some of these African groups, they didn't know they were being funded, and African individuals, so-called African individuals, or people of color, might have been Americans, they didn't know they was funded by the CIA, some of them. But when I said, who's funding these supremacists today, George Soros, the Oppenheimers or the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or whatever, again, that's who funds the CIA. You know what I'm saying? And then they got their, maybe KJB over in, what is it, the KGB over in Russia. You follow what I'm saying? That's the CIA over there. So, the Illuminists is behind all this different stuff. Like I say, you know what I mean? They back in the shadows, pulling strings, manipulating. But when you understand, when you get all the way to the core of the situation, it's the Illuminists. It's the Illuminati, Amalekite, International Bag, and Edomites. Okay? And like I said, it really, when this Abdel Bari Atwan, right? He was on George Galloway, and it was June the 19th this year, 2022, right? Because George Galloway's show is the Moats, M-O-A-T-S, right? But this Abdel Bari Atwan, he's a writer and editor-in-chief of Ray Al Youm, RAIAL-YOUM. That's like, the news. I can't say paper, like the news on the social media, news medium that he controls. It was called Ray Al Youm, but they stopped it. Okay, it's a digital news and opinion website. Okay, Ray Al Youm and Abdel Bari Atwan, and he said that he can't understand why they stopped off, cut him down, cut him off, because he's not making any money. He said he don't have no way to feed his family. Okay, and he was like, why did they stop me? He said RT shut me down because he revealing, you understand? He revealing that Russia coordinating the Edomite bombers of the Syria and Iranian installations in Syria. Now, why would the Russians be doing that? You follow me? Because that's the Illuminati control, influence on the Russians. But that's another, you understand, more likely another Illuminati family over there. See? You follow me? And again, see, the Illuminists, they play all sides from the middle. Okay? Interject money, Got set up on all these different nations. You understand what I mean? And they play them all these people against one another from the middle, manipulate, control. You follow me? Because they are a very small group, very small. See, and they want to keep these people, divided, so that they can manipulate them at will. That's what they've been doing, coming up through time. And at the same time, keep these nations in their debt. Right? Keep them in their debt. You owe me. Okay? Follow me? With their interest rates. Control. Like I said before, that's the main thing with them. You follow what I'm saying? They can control the economics, right? You control. You get the people in your debt. You know, they owe you. You got control. You know, because some people think you know, so they can make money. It ain't the money so much with them. They got that. They print that. Like I said, when they took the gold and silver out of circulation, per se, and gave these nations paper, fiat, that they can control at will. You know, the buying power, up, down, boom, bust, right? You see? So the main thing that these illuminists are afraid of, and that's the beginning of wisdom when you fear Yah, right? Now, again, they're not you know, Yah has empowered them. They're the sword that he's brought on the inhabitants of the earth to drive the people of the earth mad. You read me? Chapter 25. Right? Genesis 27. See? And again, the Lumens have done everything they've done basically to rise to the dominion, but also to keep the world cut off from the light. Keep the world cut off from Yah. Keep the world cut off from this word of Yah. Genesis to Malachi, the book of remembrance, the so-called Old Testament. Because as long as they can do that, they got control. Right? They can keep doing to the people what they've been doing to. You understand what I'm saying? Manipulate, control, abuse and misuse, lie and deceive, kill, right? At will. Right? With you know, without impunity. That's what Esau said. But you got to get recompense. And now it's their time, right? The time of Yah, our righteousness, for any and everybody to get recompensed. Right? Leviticus 26, 40, 41, and 42. For you understand, it's definitely directed at Israel, right? We're supposed to what? Acknowledge our iniquity and the iniquity of our parents going all the way back to our forefathers. And then we got to what? Accept of our punishment for what we've done. Not what our forefathers did, what we've done. When Yah says over there in 34 Exodus to recompense the, you know, the iniquity, visit the iniquity of the fathers and the mothers on the children to the third and fourth generation, that's if the children continue on in the way of their fathers and mothers. Huh? You follow me? That's if they continue on in the ways of their fathers and mothers. See, but now we, as I've said this in fact, we who awaken to who we are, right? We've seen our seed, 53 Yeshaya, made connection to who we are. We Israel. Now we can break that cycle. We can stop that cycle. Repair the breach. That what it said, isn't that what y'all said we're going to be known as? Repairs of the breach? Restorers of the path to dwell in? So it's up to us. Right? It's up to us. Because if we don't do it, we can't trust anybody else gonna do it. Right? You follow what I'm saying? We can't trust anybody else to do it. We know, so we got to do it. Isn't that right? You know, it's you know, it just gets plainer and plainer to me. But again, we have to put forth that effort, that commitment. You know, like, you understand, Dr. Professor Carol Anderson said, we can't give up. We got to stop fighting. I mean, we got to keep fighting, but she don't have any direction. She don't know what. She think it's color. Okay? You follow me? She don't recognize and don't understand we under a curse. She don't understand she Israel. We Israel. That's why that, you know, that Israelite brother called in Sunday, you know, in the question and answer, he said, you know, I'm weary, I'm tired. You know what I mean? Like we're not getting anywhere. We've been doing the same thing for how long? All she can tell her, well, we can't stop fighting. Yeah, but she like shadow boxing, and everybody like her, the Angela Davises, right? You follow me? I mean, we got Dick Gray, we got Malcolm X, we got Frederick Douglass, we got Marcus Garvey, you know, Medgar Evers, you know, Martin Luther King. We got a plethora of people who before us, right? You follow what I'm saying? Paul Robeson's, who did all of that, and we still here in 2022. We getting shot down, we're not getting any equity, right? You follow me? What's changed? Esau has created a few millionaires of us, billionaires even, so they say. It's all on paper, it's all with paper, right? You know, like my old classmate, you understand, William Roden, in his book $40 Million Slave, right? So, you know, the ones of us who billionaire, we just billionaire slaves. You understand what I'm saying? Because they still under control. You know, it's all on paper. You let them say one thing, you let them take a stand, a real stand, and see what happens to them. Now, let them take a real stand and see what happens. Let them say something about, you understand, how the Palestinians is being dealt with, you understand, egregiously, being genocide being put upon the Palestinians. Like Rihanna tweeted that out, and she basically took that down quick when the Edomites got to put that bug in her ear. Okay? You follow me? You let them do like Whitney Houston did, go over there to the land and holler and scream about my country. And where's Whitney Houston? What happened to her? Died in the bathtub, drowned in the bathtub. And Clyde Davis had the party still. Rather they find out she was dead in the bathtub, he still held the party. What kind of sense does that make? Huh? You follow me? So you're not gonna see any of these ones of us got, you know, supposed to be billionaires, the Michael Jordans, the LeBron Jameses. You know what I mean? Yeah, LeBron James put "I Can't Breathe" t-shirt on. You understand what I mean? Something like that. But he ain't gonna say nothing of real substance. Because Esau don't care nothing about you with these marches, right? Protests, talk about some equity. He let you do that. I mean, how long that's been going on? Like I said, they've been doing that before I was born. Been doing that since I've been here, and I'm 71. Now, so I understood what the brother said Sunday to Carol Anderson, like, you know, we doing the same stuff, we ain't got nowhere. She said, yeah, but you gotta keep fighting. She shadow boxed, she ain't hit nothing. Like I said, Esau let you do that all day long. Protest, get your little pass, go out and protest and burn some shoe leather, hold up some signs, poke holes in the air with your fists. You follow me? That's not gonna get us anywhere. Now, see, and for those of you out there who say, yeah, well, you've been talking this for so many years, yeah, we in refinement, and y'all steadily been bringing illumination to us that been coming out through this movement. We conduit that y'all works through, right? People call all the time talking about you, man. I listen to this. Now I can see this, I can see that. Just like the brother called last week, right? Talking about, you know, him and 8 others listening to that breakdown of Daniel. He said, brother was like, man, where this guy been? I can really understand this now. And the brother said, we got to get you out there more. I said, brother, we in the fishing period. We in the fishing period. I don't know if he really understood what I was saying. He said he's going to call again. He's called before. Been a while. You understand? But the situation now is bringing more people to actually own up to bear what they got to do, what they need to do. That's why y'all brought the Edomite to pull, you know, the pandemic into play. Because the sword cannot do anything y'all doesn't allow it to do. What I'll say it again. Just go to Jeremiah chapter 25. What did y'all say? I'm going to bring a sword on the inhabitants of the earth that's going to drive a man. Illuminated Edomite can't do any more than what y'all allows them to do. Now, follow? That's why They can't stop the will of Yah. That's why that Edomite called here in 2010, December. What did he say? Don't you know we'll destroy the whole earth before we allow a black man to sit on it? So what's he really saying? Don't you know we'll try to destroy the earth before we allow, you understand, the seed of David to sit on that throne of Israel? In other words, before we allow Yah to get established in Jerusalem. Now how they gonna stop the Most High? They in his hand, like all of us, like the whole earth. There's no searching of Yah's power. But that's how nuts they are. You understand? Okay, so just a few things. Again, Democracy Now! Shows for June the 8th, right? They talking about Latin America, okay? And the loss of hegemony by America in Latin America. That's on the 8th of June. And then on the 13th of June, they talking about, you know, Latinx and Dominican Republic. And on the 20th of June, you know, they talking about that Juneteenth nonsense, right? And the discussion, you should check it out. They got Nicole Hannah Jones, you know, with that 1619 project speech she put out. Nicole Hannah Jones, you know, and Clint Smith, his brother named Clint Smith, and Craig Stephen Wilder, because I ended up getting his book, Ebony and Ivy. Okay, Ebony and Ivy. Okay, got that book here, just here the other week. Okay, so that's on the agenda, you know, about these so-called, these HBCUs, you know, historical black college universities, you understand, man? Again, Esau set those up to teach us what he wanted us to know. Right? You follow me? But again, that's on that June 20th, Democracy Now! And then on the 23rd, they talk about the food crisis and the drought on Democracy Now! On the 23rd of June, right? So again, you understand, and again, that on that June 20th, that boy Clint Smith, right? He came out with this book, How the Word is Passed, right? So like I say, check that out on June 20th, Democracy Now! And that discussion. But again, June 23rd, they talk about the food crisis and the drought. See, because that's not only here in America, that's across the earth, right? And when you go to Yeshaya chapter 42, what did y'all say he was going to do? I'm going to dry up the pools, dry up the herbs. You follow me? See? And again, now plenty of people don't have a fire or cold to warm at. And again, in about another 3 months, when that cold starts hitting Europe again, and these nations is cut off, it's about 6 or 7 nations over there refuse to pay Russia in ruble, and so Russia done cut it off, just like they said they was gonna do. They don't have any gas, they don't have any electricity, they don't have any cooking gas, they don't have any heat. They can talk that big talk now that it's summertime, but about another three months, it's gonna get cold again. See, and a lot of people in these nations that got cut off, because the governments are controlled by the Amalekite International Bank and Edomite, those people is upset. They didn't have big protests. Had big protests in Spain during this G7 meeting in Madrid. A lot of Spaniards was protesting. But you didn't see any of that on the news over here because it was censored. Right? They had big protests in the UK and Ireland here a couple of weeks ago. Right? But you didn't see any of that over here because they censored it. You follow me? This news over here is censored big time. But at the same time, as I've said in the past, if you pull up that RT International, you got to go now to some of these private podcasts like George Galloway's podcast, MOATS, M-O-A-T-S, right? Because, you know, that's how they make money now, because they can't make no money no other kind of way. Chris Hedges and Matt T.I.B. and different people like that, you know, they gone on this, Glenn Greenwald, they gone on this Substack, I think it's called. Right? You know, you got to pay money to get on there to listen to him. You know, Caleb Moffitt, you understand? He be running a bunch of stuff, but, you know, he in that socialism. See? But see, none of these things is going to work. Socialism, none of that stuff work. Communism, none of it work because it's all come out of the heart of man. Man on this earth is going to have to return to Yah if they want to stay on this earth. If they don't want to be destroyed by the sword that Yah has brought upon them, the illuminated Edomite, right? They're going to have to return to Yah. See? And also, democracy now, like I said, already said, right? The 5th, yesterday, and this morning. You follow me? We'll watch both of those. But just a few little tidbits. You know, I wrote some things, you know. Isaac, more likely than not, Isaac knew about the 400 years of affliction. He more likely knew about that too. You know, from his father, right? And again, you know, it says over there in Genesis, it says that, you know, chapter 48, Genesis, Jacob is talking to YHWH, right? And it telling YHWH how he gave him double. You understand what I mean? You know, a double blessing. Because he took Ephraim and Manasseh to himself. That's why it's 13 tribes, right? But it's still only 12 allotments of land. Because we know the Levites, Yah is their inheritance, right? But when it says in chapter 48 Genesis at the last verse, 22, Yisrael is talking to YHWH, and he says, moreover, I have given to thee one portion of thy brother, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow. I don't recall when Israel did that. That's what it say, but I don't know where is that depicted in the book, because I'm not seeing that. Okay, you follow me? Abraham might have did, but I never saw that with Jacob Yisrael. I never saw him do that. So I don't know in actuality, you know, again, that just something seems like they put there, right? But nevertheless, again, in the book, like 3 places it's going to say Urim and Thummim. There's only one place where it says Thummim and Urim, and that's what it should be, Thummim and Urim, because the Thummim is the inquiry, the Urim is the light, is the answer. Now, for those of you got a Strong's Exalted Concordance, look them up sometime. Specifically pay attention to the Urim. It's going to say light. The light is the answer. The Thummim is the inquiry. So Esau switched it around in like 3 places. He got Urim and Thummim. It should be Thummim and Urim. Okay, that goes in the breastplate of the high priest, right? Because that's what the high priest is, a prophet, right? Because he goes in there when they can't get the answer to something that they need the answer to. That's when the high priest has got to go into the Holy of Holies and put it to Yah and get the answer, right? That's why, again, you know, in Leviticus 16, Yah says high priest can't come before him at all times with just anything. Okay, and you know, again, we know Melchizedek didn't exist. For those of you who heard that July 6th, 2019 session that Yada played here a couple of weeks ago, you understand? We know Melchizedek didn't exist. That's a total fake out. Esau, that's some of his junk, trying to combine the 2 anointed lines. That's when he starts trying to manipulate our mind with that, right? And again, Rebecca, she was about Yah, just, you know, more than Isaac for you know, a moment there doing that blessing, going into the blessing of the 2 boys when they were 77 years old, right? Because, you know, she came from the house of idolatry. That's why it took her 20 years to get it in harmony. But she got ahead of Yah in regards to the blessing on you know, on Jacob, right? She got ahead of Yah. She should have took it to Yah. So she messed up there. And then Jacob, he knew it was wrong, but he did it, right? So I talked about that, right? And again, you know, I've been, you know, I'm looking at Adam, Noah, and Noah's sons. They had to be circumcised. Think about it, because circumcised represents cleanliness and the covenant with Yah. Yah don't change. Okay, and you know, you think about it, but I look at Adam, Noah and his son. They were circumcised. Okay, Adam's sons were circumcised. You know, Again, Moshe, we know he was circumcised, because again, he didn't do that. Esau put that in there in Exodus about, Moses circumcised himself and them, and he didn't say, and didn't support. That's how Esau got. Moses was circumcised right after he was born, like more likely on the 8th day. Because again, when the basket came down, you understand, the waters and came before Hatshepsut, and she opened that basket, what she say? This is one of the little Hebrew babies. How she know that? Because, Israel and Egyptian, same pigmentation, color, they got color, melanin. Because she saw he was circumcised. That's how come she knew he was one of the Hebrew babies. You follow me? Because the Egyptians is uncircumcised. As of now, per se, right? Again, the altar of incense, right? Once a year, the blood is sprinkled on it. You know what I'm saying? But the altar incense is burned on it. But once a year, the blood is sprinkled on it. For the time of atonement, for the day of atonement, right? 7th month, 10th day. But incense was put on it every morning, right? Because I heard myself say something and it was incorrect about that on one of the sessions that Yada played. So I wanted to square those things away, because again, those who have come to the movement here of late, right? They'll hear some older things, and we've since, Yah has illuminated us to these things, right? And illuminated me sometimes through others, whether it be Yaakov Yahadasa or El or, whatever, Yosha, you understand, different ones Yah brings illumination through. Because he don't bring everything through me. You understand what I'm saying? I said that in the past. But things we've learned more illumination, more light. Now, we're not, because, we're not going to be playing any of the old things. Now I think Yada's just going into 2020. We're not going to be playing any of that old stuff anymore. You can go back and listen to it. It's on the website. Everything we've done since July 16, 2006 is on the website. You want to go back there and listen to it. But understand that since then, Yah has illuminated us more and more and more and more coming up through the years. Okay? So now on the Sabbath day, when we, when the room is open and Yah to play something, we're not going back past, back to 2019 or anything before that again. You can go back there and listen to it if you want to. All right, but we'll just be playing stuff. Basically, we won't go back further than the 2 previous years. And so now she's in 2020, and it'll be 2021, 2022, 2023, until Yah brings us up out of here. That's how we'll be doing. But if you want to go to the website and listen to older things, be my guest. That's why we leave it there, for you to listen to, if you so desire. Okay? Newspaper articles. Chicago Tribune, June the 6th, 2022. At least 9 dead, dozens hurt in weekend shootings in 3 states. Okay? Michigan, Pennsylvania, Tennessee. Mass shootings. Okay? It's I tell you, and see, Esau, he has no problem with that, because it's not touching him. You know what I mean? The Skull and Bone Boys, they don't have any problem with it. It's not touching them. You know what I mean? That's why Esau put all these guns out here in the first place. You follow me? He don't care to keep the people in disarray. You know what I'm saying? Chicago Sun-Times, June the 5th, 2022. What you eat might help ease chronic pain. Okay? What you eat might ease chronic pain. A poor diet high in saturated fats, sugar, and highly processed foods can affect your immune system, which can lead to pain. But a good as they call it, diet, or menu as we call it, can help fight pain, studies have shown. And again, that's what we see there, right? Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 12, 14, 32nd chapter, right? Yah's menu. I mean, I had a brother, he's been reading now about four years, and he mentioned to me here a few days ago, he said, can we eat shrimp? I'm like, bro, no. Can't eat the shrimp. I said, I asked him, I said, do shrimp have fins? Okay. He like, took a couple of seconds. He like, to think about it, he like, no. I said, right. I said, we can't eat anything out the water unless it has fins and scales. Gotta have both. Fins and scales. You know? But, here in this article, they say eat more whole grains. See, not that processed, you know, grains, right? Whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, berries, cherries, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, onions, garlic, salmon. Okay, now they got some other things that, you know, and so I'm not even gonna mention those. And again, you know, they got sardines here, but you gotta be careful about that now, because like I said, they put these herring in the can and call them sardines, which generally they are that, but herrings don't have scales. The real side, you know, the sardines that we can eat have fins and scales, but the deal is you can't discern. They selling herring and sardines, and they're generally called that, but you know, we're not supposed to eat anything that does not have fins and scales. So you really don't know what you're getting. You follow what I'm saying? In these cans of herring, they label them sardines, but it's really herring. So we're not supposed to eat that. You know what I mean? So I had to stop eating sardines altogether. You follow what I'm saying? Because they'll sell you herring, call them sardines. Have you eaten these herrings? They are unclean. You know. But again, you know, they say cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, as some people pronounce it, rosemary, cayenne pepper. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yellow, red, orange vegetables, right? And you know, you have to, the lesson, they say ham, bacon, sausage, they say lesson, and you ain't supposed to eat none of that, period. You know, not any pork, right? Or chicken or turkey, you know, which is they're making a lot of that stuff out of. That stuff's hybrids, you know, unclean stuff. So, you know, and like they got pies. Cause I used to make pies, you know, years ago, but I don't even eat pies now because it's a bad combination. Fruit and flour, you know, carb. That's not a good combination. It doesn't really digest in the system. So yeah, I don't eat any of that anymore. But like I say, you know, Yah's menu is the menu that we're supposed to be eating by. Because they also say eating better, moving more helps reduce type 2 diabetes risk. You know, in other words, getting exercise. Right? Follow what I'm saying? Because, you know, while I'm talking about it, we had a couple of people who, you know, one was plugged into the movement, but she basically left. L.E. called me. L.E. is down there in Florida, called me and told me that his first wife has transitioned. 28 years old. You know, she was having some physical problems, but you know, it was some things that Yah had revealed to us over the last few years, and he said he brought it to her, but she wouldn't do it, and she transitioned. 28, okay? And also, YHWH Yisrael, he's transitioned. His ex-wife, Zioniah, called me last week and told me he had transitioned, and he had called me. We had talked a few times back in May because he had diabetes. He had been put on dialysis the last so many years, and he called me back in May and told me his blood count was down to 50, And he went to the hospital, and they told him he had a leakage in his valve. He couldn't remember. I said, what, the aorta valve? He said, yeah, the aorta valve. And his ventricle artery was bad. They were going to have to open up his chest and go in there and change it. And he didn't know if he should do that. I still don't know if he actually had it done. I know he was supposed to. Last time I talked to him on the 17th of May, he was telling me that he was supposed to, you know, get this done that Wednesday. But he was like, he was telling me, you know, kept saying to me, Uremia 17:5. And I told him, I said, well, look, you're not putting your trust in them. I said, you put your trust in Yah. I says, and the deal is, they telling you if they don't do this, then you're not gonna make it. So I don't know. Last time I talked to him, he was supposed to have a test done that Tuesday. Matter of fact, I talked to him Tuesday brief, and then he was supposed to actually get this operation done that Wednesday. I hadn't talked to him since that 17th of May. So I don't know if he had it done or not, but she called me here last week and told me he had transitioned. Somebody had texted her and told her that he was gone. So Yohanan's gone, 63 years old. So, you know, we had a conversation, and again, you know, I had to tell him, because he was saying, I've been doing everything, and I said, bro, you know, you telling me this. I said, but the deal is, you know, I said, because I asked him, I said, how long you been plugged into Yah Righteousness? Since 09? He said, no, since 08. I said, well, then I know you've heard me say how you have to clean up your past. You know, you have to do the things internally to remove the plaque, you know, which from what I can see constricts, you know, stops the peristalsis action in your organ, your internal organs, right? Because again, you know, we are human beings. We are, you know, real. We're live. We're not inanimate. You know, we're not, you know, inorganic. You follow what I'm saying? We're not synthetics. You know, so the arteries and veins and whatnot, the colon, the valves, you know, they have a peristaltic action to it, a motion. You follow me? That moves the blood and whatnot. So when you eating things that creates plaque, that coats the inside of your arteries and whatnot, and your you know, around your valve, that's going to constrict that peristalsis action. And that's what, as he said, he told me, they told him he had a leak, and they were going to have to repair it. So, you know, I don't know if he actually let him do it or not, but he's gone. He's transitioned. So, and I told him, you know, I had to tell him, because he was said to me about 3 times, but I've been doing everything Yah said to do. I said, if that was the case, bro, why you having these problems that you called me and you have? You follow me? Because again, if you're doing what you're supposed to do with all your heart and soul, Yah is going to allow your body to rejuvenate. The aging process is going to be slowed. Okay? It's just that simple. Now, we're not going to be totally cleaned up until we get home. Simple as that. And again, and when I say get home, that means get there with Yah on the head of us. Okay? With Yah on the head of us. All right? That's how we got to get home. Not just going to the land, and you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I done said before, you go to the land now, you under the Edomites. Right? That's why, again, Yah says in the 33rd chapter of Yeshaya, the Jerusalem movement, we're not going to see a people of a fierce countenance, of a deeper speech, a stammering tongue that we can perceive or understand. Because the Edomites won't be there. You understand? It'll only be a few women and children there. Uremia 49:11. Yeshaya 27 at the back end of the chapter. There's only going to be a few women and children there. No adult males at all. And most of the Edomites will be gone. Because he will have run them out. And even though they hear this and know this, they can't stop it. Nothing returns to Yah void. Simple as that. That's what he's going to do to them. You know what I mean? Like I say, read that 33rd, 34th, 35th chapter of Yeshaya. Read that one chapter of Bayah. Right? Okay, Chicago Tribune, June the 8th, 2022. Goodyear agrees to recall RV tires last made in 2003. Ohio-based company denies safety defect, says it doubts some still on the road. Well, then if you doubt it, why you recall them? Because again, if the tire's that old, it shouldn't be out there. Almost 20 years old, right? But that means, look at all the people who bought that tire back in 03, 04, 05, 06, possibly, you know what I mean? And running on defective tires. How many people had a problem with that tire and Goodyear hadn't even acknowledged it yet? How many people probably had accidents and Goodyear hadn't acknowledged it yet? You see what I'm saying? Also, European Union to require uniform chargers for devices. Okay, now they started to make these charges for your phones and whatnot. Computers and whatnot. They want to make them all standard, uniform, right? One charger, you can charge your computer, you can charge your phone, whatever. You can charge everything one standard charge, and that's what they, that's what they're getting ready to put forth, or they starting to put forth in the European Union. Said, forget rummaging through the junk drawer. Soon Europeans will only need to reach for one cable to charge their smartphones and other devices. Yeah. Chicago Tribune, June the 8th, 2022. Phones likely harming our physical health. You hear that? And you can't hardly see people walking down the street don't have that phone in their hand. Or in the car. Right? Or SUV. Right? Doctors are seeing more patients with ailments in their hands, neck, and shoulders from using these, smartphones or wearing them in their ear. Right? I see a lot of that. I see people walking, talking. I look around, I don't see them holding anything, but they got it in their ear. Right? Chicago Tribune, June 10th, 2022. Wells at risk amid spike in floods. Storms driven by warming climate, a threat to water. This is out of St. Louis. Okay, so you understand, a lot of the drinking water is being contaminated to where it can't be, it can't be drank or drunk. Right? Homes in Spring, Texas stand in floodwaters from 2017's Tropical Storm Harvey. Risks to private water wells are elevated after such flooding. Okay, you understand? Look at that. Standing in water, them is homes. That's in Texas. Okay, Spring, Texas, right? Said Justice Department opens civil rights probe into Louisiana State Police, because we've said in the past how Louisiana State Police, same thing what you gonna hear when you watch that Democracy Now! Yesterday, right? You're gonna hear about, and today, because you're gonna hear about police in Ohio, how they've been, the Tamir Rice situation, right? Now this boy Jade Walker, and then you're gonna hear about the police in Boston, Massachusetts, right? But again, Israel looking for equity. You're not going to get it. I don't care where you are on the face of the earth. Just like our so-called Palestinian brothers and sisters. They don't get any equity. You understand what I'm saying? It's just like they the Israeli Edomites sniper shot, Shireen Abu Akleh in the back of the head. She wearing a Kevlar vest and a helmet, shot her in the back of the head, blew her whole face off. Now they coming out talking about it was an accident. As usual, they always say that, right? It was an accident. You follow me? It wasn't no accident. You see what I mean? Killed her on purpose. And as I said on the last session, right? Another sister, so-called Palestinian sister, right? YHWH, what is her name? YHWH 31 years old, German, shot her in the chest, killed her, claiming she gonna attack a Edomite military guy with a little old knife. They showed the knife. He shot her in the chest, like I think twice, killed her dead. See, a bunch of nonsense. So you're not gonna get any equity because you Israel, right? Also, Kushner's push to distance himself from Trump, right? Sources, son-in-law's plan in place before election was official. So now Jared Kushner said he started distancing himself from his father-in-law, Donald Trump. And again, Jared Kushner, Edomite. Like I said, he getting his marching orders from the Illuminati through Henry Kissinger, right? Because if you listen to that this morning on Democracy Now!, and they're going to mention how Trump, a lot of these supremists, you know, these pale-faced supremists, Caucasian supremists, they distanced themselves from Trump because they said he was surrounded by Jews, which is true. You follow what I'm saying? But again, they, you know, because they you had this animosity toward the Edomites, the Jews, right? Chicago Tribune, June the 10th, 2022. Gas nearing $5 a gallon in U.S. reaches record in the UK. See, because over there in Europe, they sell gas by liters. It takes about 4 liters to make a gallon. So when you see that the people in Britain and Belgium and whatnot, or France, is paying like the equivalent of like $7, it's not a gallon, it's a liter. Okay, so they paying about, you understand, $24, $28 for a gallon. All right, now that's high. You understand what I mean? People, like I say, and this is not affecting the Illuminists, the Skull and Bone boys. They're not affecting them, right? You understand? They got money. They can pay it. You follow what I'm saying? Peter Lavelle and Caleb Maupin and his 2 guests, the guy in France and the other guy, I forget where he was, right? They you know, that came up this morning on Crosstalk with Peter Lavelle. Peter Lavelle made a point. He said, yeah, the people with money, you know, these well, he didn't say illuminists, he said the elite, right? People with money, you understand? These so-called liberals, the elite of the liberals, they're not affected by this because they got money. It's the masses of people out here that are affected. They being impoverished systematically. But again, don't forget, this is from Yah working through the sword. You remember chapter 25 that he's brought on the inhabitants of the earth, the illuminated Edomite. Genesis 27. What did Isaac tell the original Esau? You're going to get the dominion one day, but you're going to live by your sword. Okay, also, U.S. ramps up probe of Tesla with autopilot because this Elon Musk, he Edomite, right, that owns Tesla. He's been sending out these Tesla vehicles on that you know run automatic pilot. They done had a bunch of crashes. Okay, I think they said it's been over something like 400 or something. They're not saying it in this article, but it's been a lot of crashes from these Tesla vehicles. They put it on autopilot and they crash. Okay. Also, the European Central Bank to hike rates in July and September. Interest rates. So now they hiking interest rates over there. The European Central Bank over there in Europe is making stuff even more difficult, right, on the people over there. Okay. High interest rates, right? Just like interest rates going up here, they moving them up here. You understand what I'm saying? But it's our country already in the recession. The whole earth is already in the recession. We're definitely the West, you understand, and over here in America and the European West, right? And then as they like to call it, the global South. I don't use that term global because, you know, that's all mind control to try to make you think the world is round, you know, and moving, which is not. It's stable and flat, round like a plate, right? But again, and when I say that, just think of the terrarium that I mentioned earlier, right? You know, the globe that you turn over and flip back over, you know, with the globe, that's the way the earth really is, right? Stabilized, and it got the dome over it. You follow what I'm saying? That's why they use the term greenhouse gases, because it's trapped under the dome. The toxicity, the gases can't get out. Only Yah can open the windows to the dome, right? That we see in Genesis. He opened the windows, right? Let the water come in, the firmament outside the dome. And he's going to, you understand, do the same thing again, but only not let water in, but let the gases out. That's in YHWH chapter 24, when the nuclear war jumps off. The fire, burn off the gases. He's going to open the windows and let all the toxic gas out, right? But again, that's the nuclear war. Chicago Sun-Times, June the 11th. Inflation is hot, hot, hot. Okay? And Biden, check this out. Joe Biden, the president of America, says Exxon, right? ExxonMobil made more money than God. Okay? You follow what I'm saying? Because they you know, jacking the price up. They really don't have to. But they're going to do this because they want to impoverish the people. You follow me? And then they can say, it's Putin that did it, Russia that did it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's how Esau operates, right? The misdirection play. Chicago Tribune, June the 11th. Smaller package and portion sizes. Blame shrinkflation. They talked about that in the past some years back. Here it is there. You see that? Huh? Okay? You getting less and paying more for it, right? So it's the inflation you're not supposed to see. From toilet paper to yogurt, coffee to corn chips, manufacturers are quietly shrinking packages, sizes, without lowering prices. It's dubbed shrinkflation, and it's accelerating worldwide. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? They say a small box of Kleenex sold in the U.S. now has 60 tissues, down from 65 a few months ago. Okay? That's shrinkflation. You follow me? And it's happening across the earth. Getting more, or should I say getting less and paying more. Huh? In some instances you might be paying the same but getting less, so you paying more and getting less. You follow me? Shrinkflation. And you're going to see more of that happen. Chicago Sun-Times, June the 12th. DC eyeing crypto. Stablecoin meltdown is wake-up call for many, including Congress and cryptocurrency industry. Now check this out. Big article, man. I got a bunch marked in here. Meltdowns in the cryptocurrency space are common, but the latest one really touched some nerves. Novice investors took to online forums to share tales of decimated fortunes and even suicidal despair. You hear that? Experienced crypto supporters, including one prominent billionaire, were left feeling humbled. Probably talking about Michael Saylor, because I saw him interviewed. He lost over $1 billion in this crypto so far, right? Say when the stable coin Terra USD imploded last month, an estimated $40 billion in investor funds was erased. And remember what I said earlier. Money does not evaporate. It doesn't disintegrate. It goes into somebody's pocket. Okay? Now, so how many people made money, you understand what I'm saying, off these people who got decimated, who got totally, you know, lost everything? Where did their money, whose pocket did their money go into? You follow what I'm saying? The Max Kaisers out here that be touting all of this cryptocurrency mess, right? You follow me? Because I know Max Kaiser is playing with other people's money. Been playing with other people's money for the last so many years. That's why he been touting this cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. And people like him, but especially him. Because I know he didn't got his money back probably 10-fold, 20-fold that he invested. See what I'm saying? He been playing with house money. People like him. You understand? All of these newcomers, like Peter Schiff said, you understand? Cryptocurrency, you get in it low, and then you wait for other suckers to come in and drive up the price, just like stocks, right? And so then you get your money back, and you keep, you know, easing some money in your pocket because other people driving the price up, right? So now you playing with house money. So even if it collapses, you ain't lost anything. You follow me? And so this is what they do, right? They say so far there has been little or no accountability, right? For these people who done lost everything, right? Stable coins are supposed to be less vulnerable to big swings, thus the name. But Terra suffered a spectacular collapse in a matter of days, just like the stocks back then in 1929, 1930, right? You follow me? Okay, they did it to the people with cryptocurrency, right? But the stocks is collapsing too, just a little bit slower, but they going down too. People being wiped out, like I told you. My manicurist told me a couple of months ago. You know, this guy, you understand, got his printout for his pension. He lost $60,000. His money was down $60,000 worth, right? Okay, say the Terra episode publicly exposed a truth long known in the always online crypto community. For every digital currency with staying power like Bitcoin, there have been hundreds of failed or worthless currencies in crypto's short history. So Terra became just the latest. I can't say what they got here, but you know, it's SH coin. You know what the other two letters are in SH, right? The term used by the community to describe coins that faded into obscurity. Okay? Terra's quick collapse came just as Bitcoin, the most popular cryptocurrency, was in the midst of a decline that has wiped out nearly half of its value in a couple of months. Okay? The events have served as a vivid reminder that investors, both professionals and the mom and pop variety, can be rolling the dice when it comes to putting money into digital assets. You heard that, right? You just rolling dice. All right? It says, I'm going to skip some of this. It says, stable coins are typically pegged to a traditional financial instrument like the US dollar and are supposed to be the cryptocurrency equivalent of investing in a conservative money market fund. But Terra was not backed by any hard assets. Okay? Tell you, boy, this game. Right? It says instead its founder, Du Quan, whoever that is, probably an Edomite with a Chinese name, promised that Terra's proprietary algorithm would keep the coin's value pegged to roughly $1. Critics of Terra would be attacked on social media by Quan and his so-called army of lunatics. They got Luna in big bold letters, lunatics, right? Okay, they say this Michael Estrabello entrusted his crypto investments to Stable Gains, an investment vehicle that he says had assured him and other investors that the funds were secured in USD coin, one of the largest stable coins. Then on May 9th, he said he was informed his money was locked up in Terra. Quote, this is what this Michael Estrabello said. He said, had I known I was involved in a currency that was backed by an algorithm, I would have never invested in that. So, you know what I mean? Smoke and mirrors, right? Said Washington may also be waking up to the fact that what used to be a niche part of the internet and finance has gone mainstream and can no longer be ignored. Because again, they're going to eventually, they want to institute cryptocurrencies, but you know they're going to do, they're going to tax it, they're going to control it. And when I say they, the government, right? Tell you, boy, woo, said the total value of crypto assets hit a peak of $2.8 trillion last November. It's now below 1.3 trillion. So it's done lost more than half. Okay, where did that money go? Where all those people's money go? It went in somebody's pocket, right? You know, but wasn't this cryptocurrency, that wasn't supposed to happen to that? Did we hear all of that? It was somebody, that can't be done, right? It says, okay, it says, surveys show that roughly 60% of adult Americans, or 40 million people, have invested in cryptocurrencies. Retirement account Giant Fidelity Investments now offers crypto as a part of a 401k plan. I know that's the truth, right? Get you one way or another, right? Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey has repeatedly pointed out that crypto is particularly popular among Black Americans, a community long distrustful of Wall Street. Well, that's still a Wall Street instrument, cryptocurrency. Said further crypto has permeated popular culture. Numerous Super Bowl ads touted crypto. I know they did. Sports arenas are now named after crypto projects, and the Washington Nationals baseball team took a sponsorship deal from Terra before it collapsed. Before it collapsed, right? Celebrities routinely shield crypto on social media, and YouTube personalities generate millions of views talking about the latest crypto idea. Yeah, because I've seen Stephen Curry and Shaquille O'Neal, you know, shilling for cryptocurrencies, right? Because, you know, they getting paid. They getting paid probably in cryptos and dollars, baby, huh? I tell you, boy, game. Now check this out. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has also called for stablecoin regulation, saying we really need a regulatory framework to guard against the risks, huh? And this was in a House meeting in May. You understand what I mean? House committee meeting in May. Now this reminds me of when they collapsed the stocks back there in 1929-30, right? Then they said the stocks need a regulatory agency to regulate it. That's when they came up with the SEC, Stocks and Exchange Commission. And who did they put at the head of it when it was created? Joe Kennedy. One of the main culprits, you know what I'm saying? One of the main thieves in the game. You understand what I'm saying? Tell you, boy, the game is on. Chicago Sun-Times, June the 12th. Stealthy shrinkflation. You're not imagining it. You're not imagining it. Imagining it, right? Package sizes are getting smaller. Shrinkflation again, right? It's Chicago Sun-Times, right? Again, it's the same thing I just read you in the Tribune, right? Says in the U.S., a small box of Kleenex now has 60 tissues. A few months ago, it had 65. It says Kobani Flips yogurts has shrunk from 5.3 ounces to 4.5 ounces. In the UK, Nestle's slimmed down its Nescafe Azera Americano coffee tins from 100 grams to 90 grams. In India, a bar of Vim dish soap has shrunk from 155 grams to 135 grams. So again, it's different products all through here that they have, you know, shrunk the amount that you used to get. You're paying the same thing or maybe even more for less. Okay? Shrinkflation. Chicago Sun-Times, June the 12th. 31 members of Patriot Front arrested near Idaho Pride event. So that's sound like, you know, similar to this group that was on Democracy Now! This morning, the NSC, Nazi Socialist Club, right? Now you got some Patriot Front group in Idaho. They confronted the gay pride, the great gay pride event. You follow me? Because they're against all this gay stuff too, right? You know what I mean? I tell you, boy, divide and conquer, right? But because it's Esau that creates all these transgenders. Like I say, changing chromosomes on children. You understand what I'm saying? And you know, creating all this, you know, LGBTQIA stuff, and then you get plenty of people who's against it. And, you know, divide and conquer. Keep junk going. Also, $5 a gallon. AAA says national average gas price crosses milestone. Illinois, western states higher. Okay, higher. Follow me? And as I've said before, with, you know, that 4715 Yeshaya won't be a coal or fire to warm at. You know, let me see, is it 14th verse or the 15th verse? Let me see here. No, 14th verse. It's the 14th verse. 47th chapter of Yeshaya. 14th verse, right? Again, because again, 15th verse is all of the merchants that have been with this daughter of Babylon from its beginning shall wander everyone to its quarter. And we bore witness to that. I've talked about that, right? Basically, all the industries used to be here gone. They set up in another country, import they, you know, should I say, export their products back into America, right? So, you understand what I mean? America used to be the big producer, now it's the big consumer. Dead, right? And so now, fire is not going to be a fire or coal to warm at, because again, as I said before, not that it doesn't exist, the gas or the electric, people are not going to be able to afford it. Okay? Chicago Tribune, June the 12th. Israeli settlers special status at risk. Those in occupied West Bank could face military rule. So they say. You understand what I mean? Because again, the Edomites have been, you know, going, you know, all the way on the West Bank, you know what I'm saying, occupied territory. So they claiming in this article, you know, that they special status, the government might start, you know, like removing their special status, but that's not gonna happen, because now I know many of you probably heard Naphtali Bennett's government has collapsed. They're gonna have elections over there, the Edomites in the land. They're gonna have elections for a fifth time in the last like couple of years, unheard of. Last 2-3 years, this is gonna be the fifth selection, and they saying Netanyahu might get back in there. Okay, that's how crazy they are. Okay. Chicago Tribune, June the 14th. Have you checked our 401k lately? Now check this out. This is what the wife, she cooking. That's a cartoon, right? The wife is cooking at the stove, and she asking her husband, have you checked our 401k lately? And he's over there checking it at the computer. He done fell out in shock. Look at it. She don't see him. He checked it and he fell back in his chair with his mouth wide open. He like in shock. His eyes bulging out, his hands is stiff, because the 401k has basically, they done lost all kind of money in the 401k, because that's the stocks they collapse. You follow me, with the 401k and predicated on. I mean, all the, you know, Illuminati, Edomite, Skull and Bone boys doing this systematically. That's why, again, we're told, right? We're told, envy not the oppressor, choose none of his ways. Proverbs 3:31. We're not supposed to be dealing with stocks and bonds and 401ks and pension plan, you know, and all that nonsense. We're supposed to get out of that. But if you haven't gotten out now, it might be too late. Okay? Because like I said, the stocks is going down, and they hitting all of these pensions and 401k money that's predicated on stocks. You follow me? They hitting your money. They taking your money. Your money going into their pocket. They are being, the Illuminati, Amalekite, International Bank, and Edomite. I told you they weren't going to let these people get away with that money. Didn't I say that in the past? Chicago Tribune, June the 14th. Crypto prices sink after lender halts moves. Okay, the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies crumbled Monday after a major cryptocurrency lender effectively failed and halted all withdrawals from its platform, citing extreme market conditions. It's the latest high-profile collapse of a pillar of the cryptocurrency industry. These meltdowns have erased tens of billions of dollars of investors' assets. You hear that? And spurred urgent calls to regulate the free-wheeling industry. See, again, you know, they're going to end up regulating it, right? First, they collapse it, take all the poor folks' money. You follow what I'm saying? And then they talk about, we're going to bring it back, but we're going to regulate it this time. You follow me? It's all smoke and mirrors. Nothing new up under the sun. They did this back in 1929, 1930. Same thing they doing now. But this time they doing it to their new instrument, cryptocurrency, as well as stocks. Chicago Tribune, June the 14th. Blast at Texas LNG terminal delivers big jolt to fuel market. All right? And again, this is, you understand, an explosion at a liquefied natural gas terminal in Texas is taking a substantial amount of the fuel off the market at a time when world demand is soaring. See, and again, when they talk about, you know, there is no pilots to fly these planes, they got plenty of pilots. See, they stalled some of them in negotiations for new contracts. It wasn't any problem about flights last year, but it's problems this year. Why? Because they don't have the fuel for a lot of these planes, but they don't want to tell the people that. That's what the deal is. They're going to tell them it's pilots, you know, striking and all of that. There's nothing but a game. They push the pilots to do that. The reason why a lot of these planes is not flying and flights is canceled, because they don't have the flight fuel for these planes. See? And the fuel is super high. Okay? You follow me? And again, I wonder if these people are having a hard time getting their money back when they make these flight, you understand, plans and book these flights, and then the flight doesn't take off. Are they having a hard time getting their money back? You follow me? Also, Zimbabwe battling hoax as well as skyrocketing prices. Okay? Battling rampant inflation, Zimbabweans are counting their toes as they struggle to buy food for their families. Now that's in Zimbabwe, right? Because, you know, Zimbabwe money, paper money, not worth nothing. Okay? See, you got silver and gold, you always got some money. I don't care what's happening. Because those of you been watching, they done push down, manipulate silver and gold down somewhat, right? But that's real cash. You got that in your hand, you got money. You always got some money. This paper and this cryptocurrency that's in the air, you look around, you might not have anything. You might not have any buying power at all, right? But you got silver and gold in your hand, you got some money. You can go get something, okay, with that silver and gold, all right? Chicago Tribune, June the 15th. Yellowstone closed after flooding inundates region. Tourists and others stranded with roads, bridges washed out. Okay? Now that's the Yellowstone. The flooding. Look at that. Huh? Look at that. Okay? Houses underwater. Float. Okay? Yacht at work. Doubt it not. Chicago Tribune, June the 15th. Lurie's Children's Hospital top state list. Once again is ranked outside the top 10 nationally. Lurie's Children's Hospital is the #1 children's hospital in Illinois, according to U.S. News and World Report, but it has again missed ranking among the top 10 institutions in the country. Now that's that Lurie's Hospital where they be changing children's chromosomes. Female to male, male to female. Remember that article I read a couple years back? They got this petition going around about what Lurie's, and I've been told there's 4 other hospitals in America that does this. So it's 5 altogether with Lurie's, where they be changing children's chromosomes. You understand? Giving the female male chromosome and giving the male female chromosome. Been doing this for years. Years. Same thing they've been doing over there in Britain. And probably in some other countries too, but definitely been doing it in Britain. Like I say, watch that Secret Intersex, right? On the, what is it, on the Roku? You understand what I'm saying? The Secret Intersex. And they run all that down. Also, Tesla automation gets scrutiny over crashes. That's what I was talking about earlier. This is the article that tells you it's been more than 200 crashes involving autopilot on these Tesla vehicles. Okay? And that's just the ones they're telling us about. Okay? Also, recession may not be on way, says economists. Now, it's already here. It's not on its way. It's already here. Okay? Now, that's the real deal. Chicago Tribune, June the 16th. Russia, NATO weapons destroyed. Okay? And you understand? Because now NATO, you understand, sending weapons over there to Zelensky, the Edomite Zelensky in the Ukraine. You follow me? And Russia's destroyed. Now, so that's a black hole. Huh? Yeah, like I said earlier, they were showing it this morning. Zelensky, and talking about the other day, Zelensky wants NATO to send $5 billion a month to him over there. You understand? The Edomite Ukrainians. So that's what we talk about. We talk about the Edomite Ukrainians. Because again, it's Zelensky and the Edomite Ukrainians in the west of the Ukraine that's been shelling the eastern Ukrainians, the real Ukrainians, been shelling them, and a lot of them is Russian, shelling them for the last 8 years. They don't talk about that over here. That's why they shut down RT America. Okay, they've been shelling the eastern Ukraine for 8 years. The western Edomite Ukrainians, Zelensky's crowd. Okay, you understand? Zelensky shilling for the Illuminati of the West, but basically the Illuminists, period. Because this is, again, you know, that's how they do. Play all sides from the middle, pulling everybody straight. Okay? Start these wars, distractions, chaos. Get people in their debt. See? You understand? What did Biden say? We got to back Ukraine to the last Ukrainian against Russia, right? You follow me? Here you got people over here starving like Marvin, homeless, huh? Can't afford food, can't afford heat, gas, electric. They talking about they done already sent over $50-something billion to the Ukraine or more. Now they talking about, you know, Zelensky want them to send $5 billion a month. How many people could that feed here? How many people could that feed and house here in America? Okay? U.S. sending $1 billion more in military aid to the Ukraine. New arms packages, largest supplied since start of war. Huh? Tell you, boy. I mean, they come right out of a war with Afghanistan for 20-something years. Still over in Iraq. Got 800-something bases in different countries. Right? Isn't that what it says in Jeremiah? Though the Babylon abundant on many waters. Right? Got over 800 military bases. And you go right out of Afghanistan. Been over there for what? 21, 22 years. And you go straight into the Ukraine. You start some nests there. Right? Chicago Tribune, June the 16th. Automated cars tied to nearly 400 U.S. crashes. That's what I was at, the 400. All right? Automated cars tied to nearly 400 U.S. crashes. Okay? And they say 273 involving Teslas. Now, put them on cruise control, they crash. You know, automated pilot. You know what I'm saying? But you haven't hardly heard anything about that, right? The housing industry starting to, you know, go down. You know, the selling the houses. Compass and Redfin, two big realtors, laying off staffers. Okay? They having growing pains being felt in Mexico. Say the corn has begun to sprout on the hillside south of Mexico's capital, though it's unclear whether these shoots will have enough water to grow or whether the farmer will be able to afford the increasingly expensive fertilizer. Because most of that fertilizer, you know, a lot of that fertilizer comes out of the Ukraine. So you see what kind of problems that the illuminated Edomite causes with his nonsense? All because he wants, you know, he's the ultimate parasite. Right? You understand? He want to control. Now it's like, you understand? It's a possibility that these Illuminati families kind of butting heads. somewhat. You know, one family want to get control, the other family want to get more control. Of, you know what I mean? It's a mess. But look, all of the masses of people that it affects, and all of the masses of people that get in the illuminated Amalekite International Bank and Edomites debt. Chicago Tribune, June the 16th, Pearl of the South Lake goes dry amid water crisis in Iraq. Hey, what did y'all say in 42? You shot, I'm going to dry up the pools of water. I'm going to dry up the herbs. That ain't just in one country, that's across the earth. And this is, you understand, Lake Sawa, Iraq, right? It says, Hussein al-Akwali remembers the spot along southern Iraq's Lake Sawa where his two daughters once dipped their feet into clear waters. Now he stands there 2 years on, and the barren earth cracks beneath him. Okay? That's it right there. Right there, right? Oh, yeah. You understand? Dry. Dry as a bone. Huh? Dry as a bone. Okay? How they gonna fight Yah? How can anybody fight Yah? That's even stupid to even think. Right? Chicago Sun-Times, June the 17th. 1 dead, 2 wounded at Alabama church. Huh? A shooting at a church in suburb of one of Alabama's major cities left 1 person dead and 2 others wounded Thursday evening. All right, that's in Vestavia Hills, Alabama. So again, these things not only happen in Chicago, right? In Ohio, right? You understand? They have other places too. They have them out everywhere. You know what I'm saying? June the 17th, Chicago Sun-Times. Flight cancellations create a bad travel day across the U.S. And again, you know, they come up with all kind of reasons, but it's the flights, it's the fuel they don't have to fly these planes. They don't want to tell the people that. Chicago Sun-Times, June 17th. Beauty icon Revlon files for bankruptcy. Plenty of you women, I know about Revlon. You know, Revlon, should I say. Revlon cosmetics maker. Okay? That broke racial barriers and dictated beauty trends for much of the last century has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Okay? Chicago Tribune, June the 18th. Russia's economy is rising above sanctions. Okay, Russia's economy is, you understand, blowing off the chart. You understand the sanctions that the Illuminati Edomite of the West put on the Russians over there in the East to try to stymie it. It hasn't hurt Russia at all. It's just they boiled. You know what I mean? They blown up. It's only hurt the people in the West, Western Europe, and the United States. But at the same time, with this Ukraine situation, right, it is hurting the world in the south region of the earth. You understand? No fertilizer, no food. You know, then y'all creating the droughts, no water, right? So again, this is the Most High, right? Said at an economic forum, Russian leaders calls West punitive actions reckless and insane. Again, y'all say you're going to take all the wisdom and understanding out of the mouth of Esau. Chicago Sun-Times, June the 19th. Bird flu outbreak waning, but threat of the virus lingers. Okay. Say a bird flu outbreak in the U.S. that led to the deaths of more than 40 million chickens and turkeys and contributed to a spike in egg and meat prices appears to be waning, but experts caution the virus hasn't disappeared and worry another surge could take hold this fall. Now, this is how, you know, some of these people getting sick, eating stuff they shouldn't be eating in the first place, chicken and turkeys and chicken egg. And what do they say? Over 40 million chicken and turkeys have died from this virus. Now, is that what they, because of what they feed these chickens and turkeys? So to send them out here to the people so that the people get it, infested with these different viruses, and they'll run and say, I got COVID. Matter of fact, like a brother told me here, just here a few days ago, because he said, he finally told me everything here the other day, a few days ago. He'd been calling here since May, April. He first told me he had the gout, right? But then here the other day, a few days ago, he told me, he went back, told me everything what happened. Back in January, right? He had dysentery and he saw some blood in his urine. So he went to the doctor. He told me the doctor come in, haven't examined him or anything, right? Told him right out, you got COVID-19. And he said he let him swab, stick the thing up in his nose, way up sinus passages, right? And then he said over the next 9 days, he got his legs and feet swole up, and basically his feet got so tender he couldn't walk on. Then he said when he went back to the doctor after about 9 days, right, that they did this test on him, and it might have been even before 9 days, but he said they did this test on it. They put some cream on his legs and put some apparatus supposed to be checking blood flow or something, and he said his leg blew up, swole up, feet swole up. He was a mess, right? I said, so, but you didn't start really experiencing these problems until they did the swab on you. He said, yeah, man, I was stupid. I let him put that swab, put that thing up in my nose. Okay? He didn't tell me that before, right? And that's when he really started having the problem. Because when we talked here the other day, I told him, I said, dysentery. See, because he's the same one that said to me, we can eat shrimp, can't we? I was like, no, man. And so then when I said to him, I said, you probably ate some shrimp or something like that. He didn't say anything. He quiet, right? I said, that's why you got the dysentery and the blood in your urine. But you ate something you had no business eating. I said, because, I didn't heard stories about shrimp. People, it was a guy many years ago. He used to have a TV show here in Chicago. And they say he went down to New Orleans and ate some shrimp. And he almost died. Said his whole body blew up. You know what I mean? Swole up. And he almost died. And then I heard this about a sister. Years later, she ate some shrimp, almost died. Some of you out there probably had some same stories like that. So when I said this, I said you probably ate some shrimp or something that you weren't supposed to eat. And that's why you got the dysentery and you saw the blood in your urine. He didn't say anything. He quiet, right? And I said, then you go to the doctor, and then they put this thing up in your nose, came in, ain't checked you or anything, but told you had COVID-19, because they get money for all the COVID-19 patients, all these hospitals. You know what I mean? They get money for COVID-19 patients. So they told you automatically you had COVID-19, put the thing up in your nose, and then you got worse from that point on. And he's still having problems. Okay? See, so, but he can get himself straight. But I told him, man, you got to stop eating, understand? Because, see, he was married for 30 years. And he found out about, he was Israel, found out about Yah. He turned toward Yah, but his wife for 30 years, she into JC. She into this way of life. So they ended up getting a divorce, right? And now I know what the deal is. I eventually told him, man, you understand? Because people talk to me, I listen. But by the same token, sometimes I don't say anything. I might think of things, but I don't say it to him. I let it unravel over a period of time. See, but I had to tell him, here a few months ago, I said, I know what the deal is. You was married all the years. Your wife was a homebody because he made the money. She was domesticated. See, but she didn't want to be about Yah. She wanted to go back out in the street and party. Yeah, and that's what she been doing last couple of years or so since they've been partying. But see, when they got divorced, now he ain't cooking. He don't know how to cook, so he ain't cooking for himself. So he eating out. So you know what that is. You eating out, especially today. with prices going high, and these restaurants is open to make money, hey, you know what I mean? Unless it's one of them show enough high-end restaurants, right? And the chefs really care about what they feed their people, you know what I mean? And they making enough money where they can do that. You don't know what you're getting in these restaurants, and even then you still don't know what you get. You understand what I'm saying? Especially if you if you understand about the menu of the Most High, you know what you need. You know how to eat. So basically, like I tell me, I eat at home. We eat at home. You understand what I'm saying? So he ate something, messed him around. Then he went to the doctor. Doctor told him he had COVID and messed him around even more. See, that's why I've been telling you, you got to cleanse, get that stuff out your system. You know what I mean? But you got to leave them doctors and all that, because they get money for COVID-19 patients. You know what I mean? I mean, they was already about money, basically. I ain't going to say all doctors, but most of them, you know what I mean? They're about making money. If you don't stay sick or be sick, they can't make any money, right? Chicago Sun-Times, June the 19th. It's allergy season. These foods can help ward off a host of allergies. Okay? And again, they show you a picture of, say, foods that can ward off allergies. Bell peppers, green, red, yellow, citrus fruit, broccoli. You understand what I'm saying? So plant-based foods, antioxidant, rich flavonoid, foods, right? And again, real foods. You follow me? Frozen is the next best thing to fresh, right? If you can't get it fresh, then frozen. But try to stay away from cans. You understand? Because can, you don't know how long it's been in there. Yeah. And again, preserves is good. You know what I mean? If things have been preserved, but I just suspect the cans. If they were preserved, if they were put them in mason jars, glass, that's cool in the game. Or ceramic. You follow what I'm saying? That's cool in the game, but not cans. Okay? They say lifestyle choices can help prevent fatty liver disease. Right? A menu rich in fresh plant-based foods goes a long way toward maintaining a healthy liver. Right? That's why, we've said in the past, we do liver flushes. We don't do them all the time now. We used to do them a lot. When y'all and I first got together, for the first few years, we was liver flush maybe 2-3 times every week. But now, we only do it every now and then. You understand what I'm saying? But, because I got a, my back, y'all told me when she said, boy, she said, what's it? Stain on my back from my liver being flushed. The poison's out, it's stained the backside of me. I can't see it, but she saw it. I said, that's that liver flushing that stuff out my liver. And it's in my skin. You follow what I'm saying? Over a period of time, it'll dissipate. Definitely when we get totally cleaned up, right? When we get home, right? But flushing that liver, flushing them poisons and stuff out, right? Chicago Tribune, June the 19th. Rebuilding of Yellowstone may take years. May cost over $1 billion, because of the flood in the Yellowstone. It's messed up, right? Also, flooding strands thousands in eastern India, Bangladesh. Okay? It's some all over the earth. And this is from Yah. Like I say, how can you fight against Yah? You got to be stupid even to entertain that thought, right? Chicago Tribune, June the 20th, right? Europe wildfires. Firefighters in both Spain and Germany struggle to contain wildfires, okay, amid an unusual heat wave in Western Europe for this time of year. That's Yah, right? I mean, it's been smoking hot over there and smoking hot here and in other places of the earth. That's Yah. And they attribute it to, you understand, the whole climate situation, right? Because you got melting icebergs and whatnot, you causing avalanches. I got something, here in the stash about that just got the other day. I'm gonna read it to you. All right. Says Spain has been on alert for wildfires as parts of the country swelter under record June temperatures. Thermometers registered readings above 104 in many Spanish cities last week. Okay? Now, you understand? That's man's so-called ingenuity, right? And all of the toxins and whatnot trapped under the dome that Esau doesn't tell us about. You know, give us that nonsense about they been to the moon and going to Mars, all that nonsense. Chicago Sun-Times, June 21st. Crypto investors' hot streak ends as harsh winter descends. Okay? An advertisement for Bitcoin on a street in Hong Kong in February. Recent events in the world of cryptocurrency have shaken many investors' confidence. Said the wealth generating hot streak for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies has turned brutally cold. As prices plunge, companies collapse. You hear that? Skepticism soars, fortunes and jobs are disappearing overnight. Doesn't that sound like 1929, 1930? With the stocks, right? Okay? Say fortunes and jobs are disappearing overnight. And investors' feverish speculation has been replaced by icy calculation in what industry leaders are referring to as a crypto winter. Says on Monday, the price of Bitcoin traded at $20,097, more than 70% below its November peak of around 69,000. Another leading cryptocurrency, Ethereum, was trading near 4,800 at its November peak. It is now less than 1,000. Okay? So there was this irrational exuberance. Sound like what's his name? Used to be the Federal Reserve chief chairman of the board. I can't think of his name now. It's the old guy. You understand? There was this irrational exuberance, says Mark Hayes at Americans for Financial Reform, a consumer advocacy group. They did similar things leading up to 2008 crisis, aggressively market these products, promised returns that were unreasonable, ignored the risk, and would dismiss any critics as folks who just didn't get it. Hayes and others are drawing comparisons to the 2008 housing market meltdown because the collapse in Bitcoin and other digital coins has coincided with crypto industry versions of bank runs and a lack of regulatory oversight. See, regulatory oversight. See, the same way they was doing, you understand, the illuminated Edomite, Skull and Bone boys were doing back in the latter part of the 19th century, coming into the 20th century, causing bank runs, boom bust, collapses and whatnot. And that's what they told everybody. We need a regulatory agency to regulate the economy. And that's what they was moving them to the setting up of the Federal Reserve. Okay, a private industry, you understand, corporation controlled by the bankers, right? You know, and giving them license to print money. You understand what I'm saying? With nothing to bag it. I mean, and as it says in Jeremiah chapter 50, right? The treasures of the people of the door of Babylon shall be robbed. And that's what they was doing, starting to rob the people's money here. Taxing them, right? And setting up the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve in 1913 and set up the tax plank in 1916. And they've been robbing the people ever since. Okay. Says, this person named Hillary Allen said there are hedge funds who have bank loans who have made bets on crypto, for example. You know what I mean? I mean, you know, people are gone in debt. You understand? Getting loans to purchase crypto. and now they bust. They done lost it all, and they owe the bank because they took a loan out. Like I told all of you in the past, you know, like Groucho Marx or the Marx Brothers, right? You understand what I mean? I was telling a person about that here a few weeks ago, and a sister, and I said, "You ever heard of the Marx Brothers?" She like, "No." So I was telling her, I said, "Yeah, you know." And then when I said, kept on talking about the Marx, she said, "I heard about them," you know, because she's younger than I am. She said, "I heard about them." I was like, "Right." I said, "Well, Groucho Marx, the you know, one of the brothers back there in the 20s, you know, people was going into the stocks like they, you know, been going into this cryptocurrency stuff, right? Bitcoin and these different cryptocurrencies, right?" And I said, you know, Groucho, his brothers didn't really get into the stock game because they was a big vaudeville act, and then they started making movies. They was making money. But Groucho, he started taking his money and buying stocks. Then he started getting stocks on margin, you know, you understand, on loan, you know, with debt, going into debt, right? And when the stock market crashed, it wiped him out. His brothers was okay, you understand? That's why as you go later on, right, his brothers, they still had their money, but he was broke. So in the late 50s, going into the 60s, really the late 50s, going into the 60s, Groucho was still working. His brothers, they worked at leisure, you know, they did stuff only when they wanted to, but he had to work. And he had this game show on TV, all right, back in the late 50s, going into the 60s. The name of the game show was called You Bet Your Life. Okay, you get it? You bet your life. So that's what he did. And he was working into old age, right? Trying to recoup, trying to pay off his debt. You follow what I'm saying? And now you've got people who have taken out loans from the bank and got cryptocurrency. Now they wiped out. Now they in debt. You follow what I'm saying? They lost everything and they still owe the bank, still owe Esau. That's how Esau operates. You follow me? You got people got wiped out back there in 2008 with the subprime. You understand what I mean? And they owe the bank money. They debt is zilch. I know people like that now. They don't talk about it, you know, because they feel ashamed. But you know, they you understand, credit is zilch. Okay. Also, Chicago Sun-Town, like I say, June 21st. The Edomites dissolved parliament. I told you, they government, Naftali Bennett's government collapsed. Called 5th election in 3 years. So they gonna have an election in November. And they got Netanyahu's picture on here, right? They say Netanyahu, he might get back in office. Okay, now he got all kind of scandal on him. He been stealing and manipulating, you know what I mean? Okay, that's how crazy they are over there. Chicago Tribune, June 22nd. Key Mexican city loses water service amid intense drought. Now, and you know, we get a lot of product, fruits, vegetables out of Mexico. And they're under intense drought. Now, what did y'all say in 42nd chapter? I'm going to dry up the water. I'm going to dry up the pools. I'm going to dry up the herbs. Okay? Chicago Tribune, June 22nd. Pain at pump felt around the world. Okay? Now this is out of Germany. At a gas station near Cologne, Germany airport, Bernd Muller watches the digits quickly climb on the pump. 22 euros, 23 euros, 24 euros. In the US, that's about 23, 24, 25 dollars. Okay? The numbers showing how much gasoline he's getting rise to, but much more slowly, painfully slowly. Okay? He said, I'm getting rid of my car this October, November, said Muller, who's 80 years old. I'm retired. And then there's gas and all that. At some point, you've got to scale back. Now, okay? See, because over there in Europe, they get liters, not gallons. Okay? You understand? And a liter is a lot less than a gallon. Okay? So there's a world oil price around $110 a barrel, but no world pump price due to taxes and other factors. In Hong Kong and Norway, you might pay more than $10 per gallon. You hear that? In Germany, it could be around $7.50 per gallon. Okay, so this is gallons, right, in Germany. And in France, about $8. While lower fuel taxes mean the U.S. average for a gallon of gas is somewhat cheaper at $5, it's still the first time the price has been that high. People in poorer countries quickly feel the stress from higher energy prices, but Europeans and Americans also are being squeezed. Americans have less access to public transport. You hear that? And even Europe's transit networks don't reach everyone, particularly those in the countryside. And that, like I said, that has an effect on these planes. They're just not telling the people that. It says, is there any relief in sight? A lot depends on how the war in Ukraine affects world oil markets. Analysts say some Russian oil is almost certain to be lost to markets because the European Union, Russia's biggest and closest customer, has vowed to end most purchases from Moscow within 6 months. Meanwhile, India and China are buying more Russian oil. Russia's economy blowing up. It's you know, the ruble getting stronger and stronger. They're not feeling no pain because they dealing with these other countries in the south of the earth. They say, we ain't got to deal with y'all. Y'all don't want to pay us in rubles, then we shut it off. And you find it the best way you can. Because, as I just read, India, China, they buying more Russian oil. Huh? Now, right? Say Europe will have to get its supply from somewhere else. They don't know where, right? Such as Middle Eastern exporters, but OPEC Plus, which includes Russia, has been failing to meet its production targets. And why is that? Because like I've been saying to all of you, Saudi Arabia don't have no pumping oil. They got stored oil. That's why they can't increase the flow that like. You understand? And these other OPEC members, they don't have it like that anymore. These wells don't produce forever. You follow me? Now, see? So they got stored oil. You know, the Saudi, that oil dried up. So they like, hey, we can give you a little bit more, but we can't give you too much more. But that's all we got. You understand? Now, so they don't know where they're going to, you know, or how they're going to fill up this lack of oil now that this situation with Russia has created. Okay, says Isabel Bruno, a teacher in Paris suburbs, now takes the bus to the train station instead of making the 10-minute drive. My husband and I are really worried about the holidays because we used to drive our car really often while visiting our family in southern France. Well, you can forget that. That's you gotta scale back, right? Ride a bicycle, catch the bus. It might not be running. Okay, Chicago Tribune, June 22nd. Germany sticks to coal exit by 2030 amid energy jitters. Now, Germany's saying they didn't have to restoke up the coal, and that's creating more, atmospheric pollution, right? But they saying they still plan on coming out the coal in 2030. But where they gonna get the oil from? Where they gonna get the natural gas from if they don't get it from Russia? See, like I said, you understand what we see over there in Jeremiah, chapter 50-51, the daughter of Babylon, they're gonna be against this country round about. Cause they can talk all that big talk now, but as time goes by, like I said, the next 3 months, you got to get, when it start getting cold over there, you got to get that heat, that gas heat from somewhere. You understand? And you're going to start seeing these European nations, Western European nations, pulling away from America and hooking back up with Russia because they're going to need some oil, they're going to need some gas. Now, okay? Talk all that big talk when it's warm, and it's still hurting a lot of people over there now, as I just read to you, right? Costing a lot of jobs. Chicago Sun-Times, June 23rd. The GOP weaponizes Christianity. And this Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a Trumper. She talks about a lot of, stuff that's true in a sense, about 9/11 was, it wasn't the Saudis, you know what I mean? Or should I say it wasn't who they claim it was, and this is a pandemic and not a pandemic. You know, she says that, but again, they Christians, and that's where they messed up. Okay, so they weaponizing Christianity, right? Said back in 2015, I interviewed presidential hopeful and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee for C-SPAN's Book TV. His newest book at the time, God, Guns, Grits, and Gravy, was a chicken fried paean to all the bubbles of the American heartland. The God-fearing superiority of Bubbleville over the folks in coastal Bubbleville was Huckleberry's shtick, and he came by it naturally. The interview was returning an odd favor, though I was and am an atheist. So this S.E. Cup, a woman, right? S.E. Cup is her name, right? She's an atheist, right? Okay, she said, though I am an atheist, I previously written a book defending Christian America. He'd written the foreword for my book and now asked the atheist to interview him about his book celebrating religious America. Okay, I tell you, they both messed up. She's an atheist and he's into Christianity. And this S.E. Cup might be an Edomite. You understand what I'm saying? She an atheist. She reminds me of Christopher Hitchens. And we know how he ended up, right? With the worms eating him up in early 60s. Yeah, I think he was early 60s or late 50s. Christopher Hitchens. He was an atheist. Talking about, you know, mocking the creator in his way. You know what I mean? Like I say, the worms ate him up. And that's that 51st chapter of Yeshaya, right? What does it say? About the revilers. Where is it? Because I'm right here. Verse 7, hearken unto me, you that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. That's 51 verse 7 Yeshaya, right? Fear ye not the reproach of men, neither be ye afraid of their revilings. For the moth shall eat them like a garment, and the worm shall eat them like wool. But my righteousness shall be forever, and my salvation from generation to generation. And that's what happened to Christopher Hitchens, right? The worms ate him up. It's been some Israelites died of this cancer thing. Same thing. Revilers, right? Worm eat them up, right? I've talked about that in the past. Chicago Sun-Times, June the 23rd. Powell, you know, that's Jerome Powell, head of the Fed, supposedly, right? Calls recession a possibility, still trying for soft landing. It's already in a recession. He was in the country and the world was in a recession when he said that, June the 23rd. It's in a more recession now. It just, you understand, like this person said here, what was a few weeks ago, I'm looking at some of those economists, and when he was asked, said, do you think it's going to be a recession? He said it's a recession already. Matter of fact, he was Edomite too. His name is Bubba something. I can't. Horowitz, Bubba Horowitz. He said it's a recession already. He said they're just not going to tell you that. He said, you know, they generally don't tell you it's a recession until it's over. And they'll tell you, you know, we just came out of recession, right? But it's a recession already. June 23rd, Chicago Tribune. The fall of the Edomites' unity government offers vital lessons for democracy in America. Okay? Because again, you understand, that's Naftali Bennett standing back there with the bald head standing up. His government just collapsed. And so they get ready to have, you understand, another selection over there. Talking about this is a good lesson for democracy in America. You know what I mean? And boy, I tell you, Chicago Tribune, June 25th. European Union leaders meet to tackle war's economic upheavals, committed to sanctions, bloc faces fuel problems, inflation, budgetary strain. Did you hear me? Okay, you follow me? These idiots, the EU's 27 leaders gathered in Brussels to grapple with surging inflation, energy shocks, dwindling business and consumer confidence, and growing budget pressures. Well, it's only going to, you understand, increase. It's only going to increase. You follow me? And again, the illuminated Edomite, They did this, and again, they don't care about the people. What did that Victoria, what's her name? Victoria Nuland, Ruland, you understand? The neocon. What did she say here a few months ago? She used the F word in regards to the European Union. She said F the European Union. And you understand? The neocons don't care about the people over there. They foster all of this stuff because they are tentacle of the Illuminati Edomite. Huh? The neocon. Right? PNAC. Project for a New American Century. And this Victoria Nuland, Rule, whatever her name is, she one up. She a hawk. Neocon. And that's, you know, they don't care about the masses of people out here dying. Like I said, they want to get rid of people anyway. They got machines. They working on AI. Right? Terminator Judgment. Right? Transformers and all that nonsense. Right? Okay? Driving force to find options. Workers who rely on their vehicles making changes to counter impact of gas prices. Called taxi drivers, these Uber drivers, they can't make no money hardly with this gas high as it is. So they got to change their ways. It says New York-based Uber and Lyft driver Wallace Reed says he's working more, but also seeking a job that won't require a car. Because he can hardly make nothing now with these high gas prices. You understand? Pakistan's stock market plunges. So the people who had in the Pakistani stock market, it plunged, right? Big time. And that's the same thing was happening to the stock market here. They you know, it's going down in stair steps. It ain't plunging all it was, but it's going down in stair steps, right? See, again, in Pakistan, said Pakistan Stock Exchange briefly halted trading Friday after its benchmark index, the Karachi Stock Exchange, plunged more than 2,000 points following an announcement by Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif that he was imposing a 10% tax on major industries. Okay? Say the new tax would apply to industries such as cement, steel, sugar, banking, textile, and others. There would also be new graduated taxes on the wealthy. The measures are expected to go into effect July the 1st. Not the same thing with Biden talking about over here. Also, big banks survived recession stress test. This came out of the Fed. Now, you believe that? You believe that? So the largest banks in the United States are well capitalized and could weather a severe economic downturn. Yeah, because they just keep printing papers and giving it to them. Okay? Paper becoming worthless more and more and more. You know, you got less and less buying power every time they print up a batch. Huh? Chicago Sun-Times, June 26. Norway shaken by mass shooting that kills 2 during Pride Festival, right? The gays over in Norway, you know, somebody attacked them, killed 2, you know, wounded so many, and the person who did it was 42 years old, a Norwegian citizen, right? 2 men in their 50s and 60s died in the shooting. 10 people were treated for serious injuries. Okay, mass shooting in Norway because people, you know, people don't want to hear nothing about any of this LGBTQ stuff. Okay, I'm telling you, boy, it's a mess. You understand? Again, and Esau, he don't care anything about any of that. You know, the more chaos, the more he likes it, because the more he figure you're not gonna beam in on him and what he's really doing, right? What they're really doing, right? Chicago Tribune, June the 26th. Heat waves may be world-linked. Concurrent events occurring far more frequently. Yeah, see, this heat situation is rough, right? Mitchell Clearman takes a photo of a sign Thursday at El Arroyo restaurant in Austin, Texas. A heat wave that's already persisted more than a week continues to bake the United States Asia, and Europe. Okay, because a brother called back then from down there in Texas. He told me, he said, Yehudah, and matter of fact, it was before that. He said, Yehudah, it's smoking down there. He's down in Texas. Okay, he said it's like 100 and something every day. All right, rough, boy, rough, huh? Chicago Tribune, June 26. Cryptocurrency losses can be catastrophic. No stuff. Now this is Terry Savage. I used to read her a lot, you understand? She's like semi-retired now. Okay? But she talking about cryptocurrency losses can be catastrophic. Cryptocurrency markets have been swooning for more than 6 months, and investors' losses are now into the trillions of dollars. You hear that? Headline declines in Bitcoin took the price of one coin from more than 68,000 at its peak to around 20,000 per coin as I write. And by the time you read this, it might be lower. Okay? Now, but cryptocurrency wasn't supposed to be able to be hit by that, right? Isn't that what they've been telling us? It was supposed to be immune from that kind of thing, wasn't it? Okay, Chicago Sun-Times, June the 28th. U.S. officials back in Venezuela in a bid to rebuild ties. Because they down there basically on their hands and knees trying to work with get Maduro, you know what I mean? They, you understand? Talking about they, you understand? They want, they done restored the license to Chevron down there, took the lid off, said, you know, you can start refining some oil down there, right? But I read this article, they still not actually saying what the real deal is. Now, check this out. In this article, they saying it's unclear what else the officials are seeking to accomplish during the mission to the country against the U.S., of which the U.S. has imposed severe economic sanctions since 2019. They were expected to meet with Juan Guaido, the leader of the U.S.-backed opposition. They say this group that went down there to talk to Maduro was expected to meet with Guaido. Why they meet with Guaido? He's not running anything. And last time I talked about it, you understand, they say you understand he's looked at now. He for corruption. He done stole some money that the U.S. was giving him. You understand what I'm saying? So now they down there trying to work something with Venezuela, trying to get some oil. You understand? Because they got to get some oil from somewhere. And again, if I was Maduro, I'm like, hey, we'll sell you all the oil you want, but we're not taking the dollar. And that's probably what he done told them. We're not taking the dollar. You got to buy the oil from us in gold or silver or rubles or yuan, because he's dealing with the Chinese and the Russians. You understand what I mean? And he probably told him, and before we do anything, you got to lift sanctions, and you got to give us this 400-something tons of gold you've been holding in our eyes. Won't give up. I know that's what I would tell him. Now, you give us our gold back, you lift the sanctions, and we sell you all the oil you want, but you got to pay us in yuans, rubles, or gold or silver. We're not taking that dollar, and we're not taking any euros, and we definitely not taking plastic. And that might be what he told him. I haven't heard anything since that article. Okay? Chicago Tribune, June 28th. South Africa is mystified by deaths of teens at nightclubs. See? Now, South African authorities were seeking answers Monday, a day after 21 underage teenagers partying after the end of school exams died in a mysterious incident at a nightclub. Now, what's that all about? You understand what I mean? What they're gonna try to brand that to be monkeypox, or you understand, COVID-19 or Omicron or some nonsense? Tell them what they expose them to, you know? Chicago Tribune, June 28th. Huh? The Edomites abortion rules. Okay, Edomites came up with some abortion rules, right? Regulations on abortion excess, and what the country's health minister said was a response to last week's sad U.S. Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade. The new rules, approved by a parliamentary committee, grant women access to abortion pills through the country's universal health system. Okay, I mean, you know, is Israel supposed to be granting abortions? Is Israel supposed to be selling abortion pills? Huh? Do we see that? Do we see that in this book of remembrance? Killing our children. Isn't that what our forefathers did? Isn't that one of the reasons why we've been under this curse for over 2,700 years now? Under other people. You follow me? Isn't that why all this stuff happening to us to this day? You know, that's part of the reasons why our forefathers killing their children. We got Israelites still killing their children. You understand? In the fire. And many of these aborted children are being used to be experimented on by Dr. Frankenstein. Now, you understand? And they also, the ex-Minneapolis policeman who killed the Caucasian woman back there a few years ago, they let him out. You know? That Mohammed Noor, they let him out. Altogether, he did about 5 years. Because it happened July 15, 2017. So he did a little less than 5 years in prison. You know, they gave him initially 12 and a half years, but they readjusted that. So they let him out. So he's out. Because that was really an accident. I mean, you know, it wasn't like George Floyd and this, what's his name, Chapin or whatever his name was. It wasn't like him, you know, sitting on somebody's neck for 8 minutes, 46 seconds, you know, which was totally ludicrous, right? Chicago Tribune, June the 28th. The EU adopts gas storage mark ahead of winter. Okay, they trying to store some gas ahead of winter. But check this out. It says the European Union countries agreed Monday that all natural gas storage in the 27-nation bloc should be topped up to at least 80% capacity for next winter as they prepare for the possibility of Russia further reducing deliveries. The EU is trying to slash its use of Russian energy amid the Kremlin's war in Ukraine and find other sources. A ban on imports of Russian coal will start in August, and an embargo on most oil from Russia will be phased in over the coming 8 months. So they haven't totally cut it off, but it's getting less and less and less, right? Okay, so meanwhile, Moscow is disrupting natural gas deliveries, a fuel used to power factories, generate electricity that the EU didn't include in its own sanctions for fear of seriously harming the European economy. I tell you, is this crazy or what? Okay, so Russia said, yeah, you're going to stop it, so we're going to start stopping it for something, you know, even more to show you we don't need you. You understand what I mean? Before the war, the bloc got 40% of its natural gas from Russia. Moscow has reduced gas supplies to several EU countries, including heavy importers, Germany and Italy, and cut off deliveries to other members such as Poland and Finland. All right? Now, okay, then I tell you, this is crazy. Okay? Say the EU Council adopted the gas storage regulation Monday after the European Commission made a proposal in March. The regulation also says underground gas storage on EU soil will need to be filled to 90% capacity before 2023-24 winter. Okay, say heads of state and government agreed last week during a summit in Brussels to step up preparations for further gas cuts from Russia and to keep searching for other suppliers. Okay, say the EU already has increased deliveries from the United States, Norway, Algeria, and Azerbaijan. Some EU members don't have storage facilities. Oh, that's something. You hear that? So the regulation provides that they should store 15% of their annual national gas consumption in other member countries, allowing them access to reserves in other EU nations. Cyprus, Malta, Ireland, which are not directly connected with the gas system of other members, got an exemption, the council said. The council also agreed to raise the share of renewables in the bloc's energy mix to at least 40% by 2030, up from the previous target of 32%. I mean, it's just totally and utterly ludicrous, the stupidity of these people. Okay, say it's got another article said it's not just corporate greed. Experts cite resurgent spending by consumers and governments as key factors behind inflation. How stupid can you be? Chicago Sun-Times. And it all comes from greed, from the Illuminists, right? Like I say, they don't care about the masses. They don't care what they face and what happens to them, right? But it's totally senseless, right? You know, that these other people would even go along with them, you know what I mean? But they being puppeteered, you know what I'm saying? Chicago Sun-Times, June the 29th. 20 years for Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, right? They gave her 20 years, you know, in prison for, you know, being with Jeffrey Epstein. And don't forget, Ghislaine Maxwell, Edomite, just like Jeffrey Epstein, Edomite, right? But they give her 20 years and a $750,000 fine. Now, R. Kelly in New York, right? He got 30 years. Okay, but I don't see anything about how he had to pay any kind of fine. But he got 30 years, and his situation's not over with, because he's you know, they got to bring him back here to Chicago. He got to get tried for a case here. You understand what I'm saying? And two of his accomplices, they getting tried too. Okay. Also, FTC sues Walmart for scammers' use of money transfer. The Federal Trade Commission said Tuesday that it has sued Walmart for allegedly allowing its money transfer services to be used by scam artists who stole hundreds of millions of dollars from customers. Okay? It said in its lawsuit, the agency alleged that for years Walmart failed to properly secure the money transfer services offered at its stores. The agency said Walmart didn't properly train its employees, failed to alert customers, used procedures that allowed fraudsters to cash out at its store. The FTC is asking the court to order Walmart to return money to consumers and to impose civil penalties on the company. While scammers use its money transfer services to make off with cash, Walmart looked the other way and pocketed millions in fees. Okay, man. Also, consumer confidence report stings stocks. Stocks closed broadly lower on Wall Street, you know, that Tuesday after a discouraging snapshot of U.S. consumer confidence stoked investors' worries about the risk that sharply higher interest rates and pervasive inflation could trigger a recession. Already in a recession. Now, Chicago Tribune, June 29th. Anti-abortion centers swell in power, because, you know, Illinois going to still have abortion centers here, but they're going to leave it up to the states. Again, this is, you know, Supreme Court has ruled this, I think 5-4, canceling Roe v. Wade, and so now they made it, leave it up to the states to whether they're going to have abortions or not. So Illinois going to be an abortion state. So now, you understand, plenty women going to be coming here getting abortions. Right? Tell you. Also, Erdogan over there in Turkey ends opposition over Finland and Sweden entering NATO. But the reason why he did, supposedly, he's getting a flock of F-16 jets from America. You understand what I'm saying? He wants some more weaponry, right? But now, the last thing I heard the other day, he's still wavering. You don't know what he gonna do. He probably an Edomite, that Erdogan. I mean, because we know plenty of Edomites up there in Turkey, right? You understand, from the you know, what they call themselves when they went up in Turkey after they got kicked out of the land. It's escaping me. You know, back then, 135 CE This escaped me now. But we know plenty of Edomites went up there into Turkey. That's where many of them went up there and flipped color. After about 400 years, they flipped color. You know what I'm saying? I know somebody probably put, I can't think of now, I probably remember somebody put it up in the room. Also former Nazi camp guard, 101 since the 5 years in prison. He 101. And they done hunted him down over in Berlin and said he had something to do with the Holocaust. They give him 5 years. He 101. Trying to ever keep the so-called Holocaust. They claim 6 million Edomites died, right? But like I said, when you listen to what we played for everybody a few years ago, the Edomite, what's his name? His name escaping me too, but we played, what did he say? He said it was only 68,000. Okay? They made the 68,000 into 6 million. You know what I mean? That was in 1967. I tell you, lies, lies, and more lies, right? But Chicago Tribune, June 29th, Flint water charges tossed against former Michigan governor and others. I figured wasn't nothing gonna happen to them, you know, because the Michigan governor, you know, they had him, you understand, on charges that he, you know, allowed this tainted water to go to those Flint, residents, right? A lot of us Caucasians to Flint, Michigan, right? So all the charges against him and others was tossed out. Chicago Tribune, June 29th, G7 pledges further hits on Kremlin oil income. So they snatching, you know, some of these Russian billionaires snatching their yachts, trying to freeze their money, you know. No, it's really ridiculous. You know, they're going to charge somebody from Russia, you know, billionaire, they steal their yacht, take their yacht, you know, and sell it, get some money, you know what I mean? Just anything to, you know, beat down on Russia, try to get the people of the West definitely to think Russia is the cause of all this. When it, you know, Russia got to take care of itself. You know what I mean? The Russians, right? I mean, they got the Illuminati they got to deal with over there in Russia. Chicago Tribune, June 29th. Churches turn to tiny homes to address big societal issue. So you got churches across the country are tackling the big question of how to address homelessness in their communities with a small solution: tiny homes. So, you know, they build these little tiny homes, you know, trying to solve the situation of homelessness, you know. And these homes is small. Trying to see, do they give the side? But they don't. But these little tiny homes, you know, give them something. You know what I mean? So they won't be on the street. You know what I'm saying? Give them something with a toilet, a sink, so that they at least keep clean and have some kind of, you know, bath, you know, amenities and waste amenities, you know. So because when I'm hearing, you know, Yoshi was just telling me, where was he telling me? In San Francisco, I think. He said he was there or something. No, Seattle. He said these people, you know, homeless people is there. They dump on the sidewalk in the affluent area. He said some of these places, I think he said San Francisco. He said the homeless people, you know, they so upset, they so angry. They in the affluent. They go to the affluent areas to just lay on the street and dump. He says, and they take their feces. People be in the restaurant, nice restaurant, eating. They take their feces, come up and smear it on the window, cause they upset. See, I'm telling you, it's a mess. It's a mess. Okay. Chicago Sun-Times, July the 1st. Europe tries to take lead in setting sweeping rules for cryptocurrency. See, I told you they're going to regulate it. We always knew they was going to regulate it. I said that in the Fed, right? So that's why they collapse it. You follow what I'm saying? They collapse it and take a bunch of people's money and then say, oh, we got to regulate. So when they bring it back, you know, not that it really went anywhere, but they're going to come in with government regulations. You follow what I'm saying? And so that what people, you know, got in it to try to make a quick buck, that's over with. Okay? And again, they want to bring in the cryptocurrency, like I read you, the Rothschild communicated Henry Maycott, right? They bringing in the cryptocurrency. What he said, the dollar has seen this day. And when he say that, that's all fiat currency. They want to bring in, you understand, cryptocurrency, period. They don't want people going to silver and gold, but that's what they doing in the East. Russia and China, and they go back their currencies with so much gold, because they in discussions about it. They in the process supposedly of setting it up. Okay, now again, that's why you got these countries in the southern part of the earth. They hooking up to Russia and China. They know they don't want to fool with America, because they know how America do. You understand what I mean? America got a history. They don't want to be bothered with America, right? So it said Europe matter of fact, OPEC boost may have little impact. Okay, the oil that OPEC said they gonna send, it ain't gonna be much because they ain't got it. They ain't pumping no oil. They got stored oil. So they getting together, the OPEC nations. We put together a little package and send you, but it ain't gonna be much. It's gonna have very little impact. Okay. Also, Europe tries to take lead in setting sweeping rules. Okay, I just read it right. Sweeping rules for cryptocurrency, and again, they gotta come in and regulate it. It always was planned to be regulated. Tell you, boy, you know, people, you know, man, people blind. They just don't really see what's going on. Chicago Tribune, July the 1st. All eyes look to airlines heading into July 4th. Carriers facing huge tests with big crowds expected during holiday weekend. Say airlines may not have enough planes and flights to carry all of them, especially if there are cancellations due to weather, crew shortages, or any other reason. That's what the lack of fuel comes up under. Any other reason. All right? Say airlines have been caught short-staffed as they try to hire thousands of workers, including pilots, to replace those who they encouraged to quit when the pandemic caused air travel to plummet. Many of them, including Delta, Southwest, and JetBlue, have trimmed summer schedules to reduce stress on their operations, right, from a lack of fuel. But they got the pilots. Pilots want to work. They want to, you know, understand. Now, you got some of them have struck for better, more money, but that's without question. A lot of workers is doing that. They need more money. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the, you know, shrinkflation, right? You understand? Inflation. But they don't have the fuel to fly these planes. So, you know, they don't want to tell the people that, though, right? Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg pushed back this week. The majority of cancellations and the majority of delays have nothing to do with air traffic control staffing, he told NBC Nightly News. Several congressional lawmakers have blamed the airlines for leaving passengers stranded. Some point out that Congress gave the industry $54 billion in pandemic relief. Okay. Now, okay. Maid prices rose faster than pay or spending. All right, that's another article. Inflation, right? Salmonella shuts down or shuts Belgian factory. Salmonella, right? They say they found a salmonella in a batch of chocolates. Okay, it's something, man. Stocks wrap up worst quarter since early 20. Okay, Wall Street racked up more losses for stocks Thursday as the market closed out its worst quarter since the onset of the pandemic in 2020. Yeah. Chicago Tribune, July the 1st. Ben & Jerry's sales to resume in East Jerusalem, West Bank. You know, because this Unilever who bought Ben & Jerry, they didn't open back up to sell Ben & Jerry's ice cream in the West Bank, because they was claiming they had shut it down because they was not claiming, but they shut it down because of the inequities and the oppression on the Palestinians by the Edomite government. Well, the Edomite government, I talked about that a couple of years ago. They was furious about that, right? So now this Unilever say they're not going along with the total shutdown. They selling Ben & Jerry's products because Ben & Jerry don't actually own it anymore. Unilever does, which is probably an Edomite company anyway. You understand what I'm saying? So, say Ben & Jerry's decision was not a full boycott and appeared to be aimed at the Edomite settlement enterprise. Some 700,000 Jewish settlers live in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem, which the Edomites annexed and considers part of its capital. The Edomites captured both territories in the 1967 Mideast War. Palestinians want them to be part of their future state. Well, again, they going to be, but again, you Palestinians, so-called Palestinians who are really Israelites, you going to have to turn and be about Yah. And it's written that so many of you are going to do that without question. I mean, Hosea 14, verse 8, and Zechariah chapter 10, right? And also the one chapter of Bible. Because those descendants out of the house of YHWH, who going to actually, Yah's going to work through to be the flame that's actually going to put the killing on those Edomites that Yah runs down into the land of Basra Seir, their land. They got to know who they are when they do this killing on the Edomites. They got to know they Israel. You follow me? And again, that goes back to that 14:8 Hosea, right? We've seen him. We've observed him. What do we have to do anymore with idols? Right? Also, Zechariah chapter 10. Right? It says Ephraim, then it's going to intimate the house of YHWH. Wait a minute, let me go there and point it out to you. 10. Okay, here we are. Now at the top of the chapter, chapter 10, Zechariah, right? Well, it's not quite at the top. See, because as he says in verse 3, it's the house of YHWH, right? The seed of David. Yah has made his goodly horse in the back. But as you keep reading, you get down to verse 6, right? He will strengthen the house of YHWH. I will save the house of YHWH. That's Ephraim, Manasseh, descendants of, right? And I will bring them again to place them, for I have mercy upon them. And they shall be as though I had not cast them off, for I am Yah their strong, and will hear them. Now, here we go. And they of Ephraim shall be like a mighty man, and their hearts shall rejoice as through wine. Yes, their children shall see it and be glad. Their hearts shall rejoice in Yah. Now, when it says the house of Yosef in verse 6, then it says, and they of Ephraim in verse 7. So this could be just the descendants out of Ephraim, right? Because we know at times Ephraim, when it's mentioned, it means the 10 tribes, right? Samaria, right? Israel, right? Verse 8, and I will hiss for them and gather them, for I have redeemed them, and they shall increase as they have increased. And I will sow them among the people, and they shall remember me in far countries. See, because we're in the wilderness of the people. That's basically where Israel is, in the wilderness of the people, right? So when Yah said, I will sow them, right, among the people, and they shall remember me in far countries, and they shall live with their children and turn again. Now, this is the descendants out of the house of Ephraim, out of the house of YHWH, right? And when it says Ephraim, it could mean just the, the 10 tribes itself. You know what I'm saying? And because again, when it says Ephraim, if it doesn't mean the 10 tribes in verse 7, right? If it meant just the descendants of Ephraim, seemed like Manasseh would be mentioned because they part of the house of Yosef too, right? So when it says Ephraim, I think it's more like the 10 tribes. It's talking about the 10 tribes, right? And I will bring them again also out of the land of Egypt. See, I gathered them out of Assyria. That's where many of the descendants of the 10 tribes are, right? I will bring them into the land of Gilead and Lebanon, and place shall not be found for them. And he shall pass through the sea with affliction, and shall smite the waves in the sea, and all the deeps of the rivers shall dry up. You'll see this also in Yeshaya chapter 35, right? You know, after the Edomites have been judged, right? Talking about they go over the rivers dry shod, right? And the pride of Assyria shall be brought down, and the scepter of Egypt shall depart away. And I will strengthen them in Yah, and they shall walk up and down in Yah's name, saith Yah, or in my name, saith Yah, right? So again, I think it's more when it says Ephraim in verse 7, I think it's more talking about the 10 tribes, because, you know, again, when the Edomites get run out and judged, you're going to have many descendants out of those, you know, 6.5 tribes that became known as Palestinians. Again, 2 Chronicles 30, 2 Chronicles chapter 34, right? You put them together, right? 100 years difference between those two chapters. You put them together, you get all of the descendants who escaped out of the different tribes of the 10 tribes that escaped out of the hands of the kings of Assyria. You know, back then, 722, 721, came back in on their land, but they never came back to Yah. Not then. Now they will come to Yah, right? Many of them. I ain't gonna say all, but many of them. You follow what I'm saying? Again, 14:8 Hosea, right? They're gonna say, I've seen him, observed him. That's got to be the messenger, right? What do I have to do with idols anymore? But they're gonna remember Yah, as Yah says here in chapter 10 Zechariah. They're gonna remember him in far countries and turn again with their children. Turn back to Yah. Start calling on Yah, the Creator. Okay? There's only one, and that's Yah, our righteousness, the King. See? So, again, Chicago Sun-Times, July the 2nd. New York overhauls handgun rules in effort to keep some limits. That horse out the barn. I said that earlier, right? That horse is out the barn. You're not going to ever get them handguns, you understand, under control. You got about 360 million people here in America. You got over 400 million handguns or guns, rifles, guns out here. That horse is out the barn. Now, and they even talked about it here in the Supreme Court, right? The conservatives put out, you know, they need to let everybody carry a pistol, right? Because most people carry them now anyway, legally or illegally. That's why you're getting so many shootings. Right? You get these people that are disgruntled. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah, for whatever reason. And they want to blame other people. You understand? So that I'm going to get a gun and kill up everybody. That's what they say this fool up there in Highland Park in Illinois did here on the 4th of July. He was a nut. You know, he been putting stuff out on the internet. Mad at the world. Mad at people. He was talking about killing himself. That's what he should have started with. But nevertheless, he going to get a gun, and they say he had about 5 guns, a couple of rifles, 2 or 3 rifles or something. He supposedly shot off 70 rounds, and they got a picture of him in today's paper, you know, looking like a woman. That's how he got away, because he was dressed like a woman. Okay, the cub, he got all these tattoos on his neck and whatnot. You know, a real nutbag, right? But this is what happens. You get these people disgruntled, mad about something. They want to take it out on the world, so they get a gun and go to shooting folks. See? And like I said, the illuminated Edomite, the skull and bone boy, they love all of that. You know what I mean? Chicago Tribune, July the 2nd. Virus infecting some multiple times. You hear that? Variant has evolved to be more contagious. Shot wanes over time. Now that's the game, right? Check this out. For New York musician Erica Mancini, COVID-19 made repeat performances. March 2020, last December, and again this May. Now, she had 2 shots and a booster, but she's still coming down with COVID-19. Now explain that. Because last month, I think I might have mentioned it on the last session, last month I went to this memorial, and this sister I've been knowing over 50 years, She can barely walk. Told me she had to get an operation on her back on the 16th of last month. And I think that's the second or third operation she done had on her back. And I'm like, what you doing with this cane? She's like, I can barely walk. And so I'm sitting there talking to her, right? Then she tell me, she said, yeah. She said, I had COVID here the other month. I said, you did? She said, yeah. She said, and I took 2 shots last year. And she said, I took a booster shot the first of this, around the first month this year. But she came down with COVID. So I was waiting for her to say, I don't know how I come down with COVID and I didn't had 2 shots of the booster. She never said that. Because if she had said that, then I would have said, yeah. I said, so what good are the shots? If you keep taking the shot, you keep coming down, you know, like this, you know, that's her there. She done had COVID. She's supposed to have COVID-19 3 times. But she took 2 shots of the booster, but she keeps coming down with it. Now explain that. So why are you taking the shots? Because I haven't taken any shot, and I haven't had COVID at all. And if I had that little touch what I said back there in 2020 at the very beginning, back there around, what was it, around March 2020, I said I might have had a little bout with COVID. If that's the case, then it didn't hurt me now because I was over it in a day and a half. Okay? So now, why would I take a shot? You follow what I'm saying? And I'm not wearing a mask. So why would I take a shot? Like I said, this brother just told me, finally told me everything here a few days ago. He had dysentery back in January, probably because he's eating some garbage, some shrimp or some mess, right? So he had some dysentery, and he saw a little blood in his urine. So he go to the doctor, and they stuck the COVID swab up in his nostril, way up in his sinuses. He said the next day he was a mess. And then he said continually over the next 8 days, his feet swole up, his legs swole up, he could barely walk. Now what's that all about? And then when he finally, you know, told me, the doctors told him he had clots. Now, clots. Isn't that what they say that J&J shot was giving people clots? So what, they got that on the end of the swab, sticking it up in you? If they don't shoot it, I mean, you know, they can mainline you, but they can also stick it up in your nose. You'll get it that way. You know, this stuff is so potent that you can catch it that way. You follow what I'm saying? You understand? I mean, people be taking that heroin, they shoot it up in their vein, but a lot of them snort it. They still get there. They just take a little bit long. You know, if they shoot it straight into the vein, it boom, quick, they in the nod. Okay? You didn't see them with, I didn't see them with the needle in there and they go in the nod. That's how quick it hit them. But when you put it up in your nostril, it take a little bit long. It might take maybe 35, 50 minutes, an hour. You understand, before it really hits you. Then you in the nod. Now, but it still get there. Okay? Also, Swiss same-sex marriage. Lesbian and gay couples in Switzerland rejoiced as they legally tied the knot Friday when the Alpine nation formally joined many other Western European countries in allowing same-sex marriages. Now, crazy. You know, or as Yada says, craze up. Okay? Chicago Tribune, July the 2nd. Execs largely unscathed by devastation of crypto's crash. Hear that? Execs largely unscathed. So this hit most of the little people, not the executives, because they already know what's coming. You follow what I'm saying? And this is out of Inglewood, Colorado. The cryptocurrency market was in ruins, but Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss were jamming. These are 2 twin billionaires, right? The billionaire twins, best known for their supporting role in the creation of Facebook, shimmied across the stage with their new cover band, Mars Junction, at a concert venue outside Denver last week. The latest stop on a coast-to-coast tour. They got a band called, right? Mars Junction. You follow me? They belted out hits such as Journey's Don't Stop Believing. Tickets cost $25. The Winklevosses were moonlighting as rockers weeks after their $7 billion company, Gemini, which offers a platform for buying and selling digital currencies, laid off 10% of its staff. Since early May, more than $700 billion has been wiped out in a devastating crypto crash, plunging investors into financial ruin and forcing companies to slash costs. Constraint is the mother of innovation, and difficult times are a forcing function for focus, the Winklevosses, who are 40, said in a recent note about the layoffs. I'm going to read that again. So I want you to hear this. This is what they say, the Winklevosses, the twins, right? Constraint is the mother of innovation, and difficult times are a forcing function for focus, unquote. The Winklevosses, who are 40, said in a recent note about the layoffs. Cryptocurrencies have long been held up as a vehicle for economic empowerment. Enthusiasts promote the digital coins, which are exchanged using networks of computers that verify transactions rather than through a centralized entity such as a bank, as a means for people of all backgrounds to achieve transformational wealth outside the traditional finance system. But for all those supposedly egalitarian principles, crypto's collapse has revealed a yawning divide. As employees of crypto companies lose their jobs and ordinary investors suffer huge losses, top executives have emerged relatively unscathed. No crypto investor has fully escaped the downturn, but a small group of industry titans accumulated immense wealth as prices spiked over the last 2 years. Many of them bought Bitcoin and Ether and other virtual currencies years ago, like Max Cass, when prices were a small fraction of their current value. Some locked in their gains early, selling parts of their crypto holdings. That's what I told you. I know Max Cass has been doing. He playing with house money like they saying many of these people have done, right? They locked in their crypto holdings. Said others run publicly traded crypto companies and cashed out of their stock or invested in real estate. But by contrast, many amateur traders flooded into the crypto market during the COVID-19 pandemic when prices had already started soaring. Some poured in their life savings. Thousands also flocked to work for crypto companies, thinking it was a ticket to new riches. Now many of them have seen their savings vanish or have lost their jobs. The combined fortunes of the 16 richest crypto billionaires exceeded $135 billion in March. You hear that? Forbes estimated. As of this week, the total was about $76 billion, but most of the loss was suffered by Changpeng Zhao, CEO of the crypto exchange Binance, whose $65 billion fortune shrank to $17.4 billion. That's all right, right? You got $17.4 billion. You still okay, right? Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, whose wealth was $4 billion apiece before the crash, were each worth $3.3 billion this week, according to Forbes. They declined to comment. I know they did, right? The uneven effects of the crash are evident even within the crypto companies. Coinbase, the largest crypto exchange in the United States, went public in April 2021 when interest in digital currencies was surging. As part of the company's public listing, CEO Brian Armstrong sold nearly $300 million worth of stock. In total, 6 of Coinbase's top executives have sold shares worth more than $850 million since April 2021, according to Extoll, which tracks executive compensation. Coinbase's stock, which peaked at about $357 in November, now trades at about $50. Last month, as Coinbase grappled with falling prices and declining consumer interest in crypto, it laid off about 1,100 workers. Armstrong said the company had overhired. Coinbase also rescinded hundreds of jobs offers. Some of these new hires had already quit their previous jobs or were relying on Coinbase to maintain their work visas. Now, you see the game in that? Just like stocks, huh? Just like Peter Schiff said, I peeped it way back. I told all of you that. This game is just like owning stock. So what did they do? They crashed it. These people who got in early, like Max Kaiser, and you understand, got in when it was $1 or $2. You follow what I'm saying? They bought it up and bought so much, and they waited until the price went up. Then you can peel off, get your money, your original investment back. Now you sitting, you playing with house money, right? So when it go up there and crash, even if it come down so far, if it come down to 20,000, right? And you got in when it was $2, you still making money. You follow what I'm saying? But you had all these suckers, like Peter Schiff called them. Suckers came in, drove the price up. You understand what I mean? And they lost all their money. Just like the stocks back then in 1929, 1930. You understand what I mean? Same thing what I just read earlier, right? What happened in 2008 with the subprime collapse. You follow me? That's why we don't fool with this stuff. That's why I said, what was it here last month, a month before last, saw Jim Riggins in this interview with Daniela Camponi. What did Jim Riggins, I told you he said. He said he don't fool with no cryptocurrency. And for that reason, because he knew it was a scam. Okay? He didn't say it just like that, but that's what, that's basically what he was saying. He didn't want to come out. He like, hey, if people want to get into it, that's up to them. He said, but I don't fool with it. You know what I mean? Because he knew it was scammer ding dong. And he wasn't going to feel right because all money is not good money. You follow what I'm saying? All money is not good money. He didn't want to be involved in that. You follow me? Okay? But the Max Kaiser, he's a scammer ding artist anyway. Okay? That's how he made his money back there at the stock market and then got out and then come back and talk about Jamie Dimon and all that, but he just like him. He ain't nothing but a shield. I said that. Max Kaiser is just like J.P. Morgan was back there in the early part of the 20th century. He talking about the bankers, but really he with them. Okay? And luring people into the scammer ding dong. Now, when they stopped RT America, Max Kaiser's show stopped, right? He don't come on he don't have a podcast of his own because he knew this was coming. So he didn't got his money. He gritted, but he don't want to be out there around the people because he been promulgating this Bitcoin and all this cryptocurrency from the beginning. Because he in with the scammer ding dong. Okay, simple as that. July 3rd, Chicago Sun Times. No guarantee Fed can tame inflation. Right. Okay. And again, Ben & Jerry's back in West Bank, kinda. Because again, it's not Ben & Jerry. They sold their main stock to Unilever. So they basically out the game. They might be getting residuals. But it's Unilever that owns Ben & Jerry's now. Which is probably an Edomite-owned organization. You understand what I'm saying? Chicago Sun-Times, July the 3rd. California land taken from black couple returned to heirs. Huh? Now this is out of Los Angeles, right? County Board of Supervisors voted last week to return ownership of prime California beachfront property to descendants of a black couple who built a resort for African Americans but were stripped of the land in the 1920s. Kind of sound like Tulsa, don't it? The only thing they didn't do, they didn't burn nothing down, they didn't kill nobody, but they just took their land from them. All this wealth they could have accumulated over the last 100 years, somebody, Esau more likely and some Caucasians got it, but not them, the original, creator of it. Right? So they returned the land to this couple's family, right? Said board chair Holly J. Mitchell, co-author of the motion, immediately signed the documents which allowed the county to lease back the property with an option to purchase it for millions of dollars, right? The land was purchased in 1912 by Willa and Charles Bruce, who built the first West Coast resort for black people at a time when many beaches were segregated. They suffered racist harassment from white neighbors, and in the 1920s, the Manhattan Beach City Council took the land through eminent domain. The city, you hear that? Eminent domain. The city did nothing with the property, and it was transferred to the state of California in 1948. In 1995, the state transferred it to the county with restrictions on further transfers. Supervisor Janice Hahn launched the complex process of returning the property to heirs of the Bruces in April 2021. A key hurdle was overcome when the state legislature passed a bill removing the restriction on transfer of property. Last month, the county completed the process of confirming that Marcus and Derek Bruce, great-grandsons, hear that? Great-grandsons of Willa and Charles Bruce, are the legal heirs. All right? We can't change the past, and we will never be able to make up for the injustice that was done to Willa and Charles Bruce a century ago, but this is a start. An emotional Hahn said before the vote. Hahn said returning the property will allow the heirs the opportunity to start rebuilding the generational wealth that was denied them for decades. Now that the dollar is collapsing, okay, now they're going to return it to them. You understand what I mean? Now that the whole country is collapsing, they're going to return it to them. Huh? You understand? Anthony Bruce and the family spokesman said in a statement that the return means the world to them, but it is also bittersweet. My great-great-grandparents, Willa and Charles Bruce, sacrificed to open a business that gave black people a place to gather and socialize, and Manhattan Beach took it from them because of the color of their skin. No, because of the curse. It destroyed them financially. It destroyed their chance to the American dream. The transfer includes an agreement for the property to be leased back to the county for 24 months with an annual rent of $413,000. So in the next 2 years, they can make a little over $800,000. These great-great-grandsons of the Bruces, right? Plus all operation and maintenance costs, and the county's right to purchase the land for up to $20 million. So they can sell it to the county for $20 million, right? But how much money have they lost over 100 years? Huh? Maybe $1 trillion or maybe 50 billion. You understand what I'm saying? This may be the first land return of its kind, but it cannot be the last. Yeah, now they're going to give it back just like they did the black farmers. When I read that article a few months back, took black farmers' land years ago. Huh? You follow what I'm saying? Now that the whole country collapsed and the dollar collapsed, they were talking about giving some land back now, like they gonna do some good, right? Also, sunken World War II era boats slowly emerging from shrinking Lake Mead. Lake Mead has dried up so much now. They done found a World War II boat that sunk. You follow me? You can see just part of it. You can just see part of it right there, sticking up. Okay, that's how much Lake Mead is dried up. Now, you follow me? And says an acre foot is about 325,850 gallons. An average household uses 1/2 to 1 acre foot of water a year. Okay, but this is how much Lake Mead has dried up. Now, okay, you tell me y'all is not great, huh? You follow me? He who creates, you say he gonna dry up the pools. You tell me y'all is not at work. Okay, and also Chicago Tribune, July 3rd. Okay, this Edomite, you understand? Agency or whatever, a group called the Flame, right? And they putting out facts and logic about the Middle East, right? They located in Berkeley, California. They call it the Flame. And they say, you deserve to know the truth, the Palestinian catastrophe. Palestinians mourn the, they gonna say it, but the Israelis' birth with Nakba Day. But the real catastrophe then, as now, is their failure to share the land and seized the chance to form a state. Now they want to claim that the Palestinians wasn't sharing the land. The Palestinians started, so-called Palestinians, who's really Israel, started doing that back, you understand, when the Edomites started coming over there in 1897. You follow me? But they upped in 1948, attacked the so-called Palestinians, killed so many of them, genocide, the rest had to run for their life, and then they said, well, they up and left, so it's ours now, the Edomites. And they claim, you understand, they're going to tell you the real truth about Magnify Day. You understand? Edomites and their nonsense. Chicago Tribune, July the 4th, right? Police, man held in deadly Danish mall shooting. So they had a man shooting over in Denmark, Copenhagen, right? This is out of Copenhagen, right? You understand? 22-year-old Danish man over there. You understand? Killed 3 and critically wounded 3 others. That's over there in Denmark. And also, Akron police released video of fleeing man deadly shooting. That's that Jalen Walker, right? That I mentioned earlier. You want to see Democracy Now! Yesterday, the 5th. They talking about it on there, right? Shot him 60 times. Hit him 60 times. Okay. But again, they claim he shot out of the car. They supposedly found a gun in the back of the car, in the back seat. But they say when he got out and ran, he didn't have a gun. They tried to tase him, they say, but 8 policemen shot him 60 times. So I don't know why these brothers run, and these sisters too. I don't know why they run from the police. They know when you do that, they're gonna shoot you. Simple as that. Chicago Tribune, July the 4th. Huge piece of alpine glacier breaks loose, kills 6 hikers in Italy. Cause the glaciers is melting. Cause of the warming. Cause of the gas is trapped up under the dome. Okay? Okay, say the glacier in the Marmolada Range is the largest in the Dolomite Mountains in northeastern Italy, and people ski there in the winter, but the glacier has been rapidly melting away in recent years. Okay? Also, Australia, they're having floods again. And Australia's a mess. Okay, we've seen it on the tube. Australia's flooded out big time. Just like it was here the other year. Also, Germans revelers in the Cologne Pride Parade, okay, marched through the West German city Sunday, Cologne, right? Around 180 LGBTQ groups and music floats took part in the parade through the city center. The news agency DPA reported. Police estimated the crowd at around 1 million in Cologne, which has one of the biggest LGBTQ communities in the country. So you got these, these lesbians and homosexuals everywhere. Okay? It's a mess. But that's why y'all bring your judgment on the inhabitants of the earth. And again, July the 5th, holiday horror, which happened on the 4th of July. That knucklehead up there, you understand? Is 7 dead now and over 2 dozen wounded, he did. And like I said, he got away by dressing like a woman. They had a picture of him in today's paper dressed like a woman. That's why they didn't catch him right off. And also July the 5th, U.S. Israeli fire likely killed reporter. No final conclusion. See, it ain't no likely. Talking about Shireen Abu Akleh. You understand? You understand? They talk about the bullet was too damaged for them to make a real assessment. It's an Israeli sniper killed her on purpose because she had Kevlar back in front and a helmet on. Shot her through the back of the head, blew out her face. But again, she's an Israelite. You understand? Thinking she's an Arab, right? And you understand? She was a Christian. But like I said, at her funeral, they had a big old cross made out of flowers. She's a Christian. They said that. Okay, idolatry. Also, again, Australia, waterlogged Sydney suffers 3 feet of rain, more flooding. Sydney, Australia. Okay. And Chicago Tribune, July the 5th, motive likely not terror related in Copenhagen shooting. Okay, over there in Denmark, right? So That's it. Q&A to follow for Yah righteousness, Jerusalem, and the Holy See. Y'all bless everybody. Peace.